Welcome into the Cam Strick Podcast, episode number 196, baby. Presented by Hair Club.
Yeah, man. Monty, Jim Montgomery, live in studio.
Are you singing while you talk at the same time? Or are you doing like a little singing action going on?
I'm all over the place, Andy. You know that.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck.
Dude, it's been so hot here. People have no idea what heat is until you come and feel this.
Well, it's so miserable to a point where you have to shut down the house and shut all the fucking blinds. I hate doing that because it reminds me of like shutting the blinds when you're fucking crawling out of a hole. Yeah. You don't want to see the sun. But now it's like it's so hot, Andy. You can't enjoy anything. Like you kids, I can only imagine like Ty probably wants to go outside and you're like, oh, fuck, I might have a heart attack. Right. It's unfucking believably miserable here in the summertime. I'd rather it be cold. I've said it. Hot take, I don't give a shit. I'd rather it be cold. The cold, you can put a fire on.
Is that a hot take?
Yeah, it is.
Wouldn't most people rather have cold weather than 100?
Nope. I don't think so. That's a good question. Do you want it to be freezing? Okay, so if it's freezing cold or 110 degrees, if I'm chilling in my house, if it's cold, it's more cozy in your house. Yeah. You put the fireplace on, you could keep the windows open, you watch a movie, you chill out. Like I don't mind that.
I mean, listen, it's not even close for me, but I don't like extreme temperatures in any direction.
I agree, but if I had to pick one,
what do you think is causing it? What do you think is causing it?
Oh, Andy, go fuck yourself. Jesus, don't even start.
Well,
with
I'm
that
just
shit.
curious what
You're
you
getting
think.
chirped enough with your ignorance.
Is it climate change or what is it?
Climate's always changing. Mm-hmm. It's always changing. You know what happened in the 70s? They thought we're all gonna freeze again. They thought the ice age was coming back in the 70s. Oh. Time magazine 70s. Look it up. It's a freeze. We're all gonna be frozen.
Who was on the cover of that?
Well, a snowman. You know. So listen, it's bizarre, and we're just not ready to go.
You know who Tony Dorsett is? You know Tony Dorsett?
Dorsett.
Yeah, he played for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, he was like a running back, really good running back. Yeah. Minnesota Vikings. Played at Georgia, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, Andy, what about him?
He's like a politician, but he says like crazy stuff. I think he said that we need to take the good air from here and go take it and like drop it off in China and like give them good air and get rid of their bad air. Like kind of like I'm like, dude,
that's a good idea.
Like this guy can't be serious.
No, Andy, that's why you just don't listen to whatever, Andy.
Yeah,
I don't know where you find all this shit. Well, but listen, look, if you're gonna do anything with the climate, man, like India and China and Russia,
where?
Fuck. China. They're going to be like, yeah, why don't you guys go all green? Don't worry about us. We'll provide the rest of the world. We'll surpass you in 2 seconds. Wow. They already have, but it's all good, man. Look, I'd rather be cold than hot. Don't get me wrong, but hey, but you know what happens when it's cold? Everything dies. When it gets a little bit warmer, things flourish.
Well, you know what I have now? Because my beautiful yard, it looks like Petco Field. I say that from San Diego. It's got the lines in it. Jose's been doing a tremendous job. I actually feel bad for Jose because it's been so hot. I mean, I just hope that, lawnmower is his, the riding lawnmower, which goes extremely fast. It's very powerful. That it doesn't go down or anything like that because of this heat. But like, dude, I got a fungus on my grass. I'm not happy about it. It's like turning it brown a little bit. So I'm not dealing with this very well.
No one cares. Hey, listen, you were wrong about Matthew.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Oh, you weren't? Oh, you knew he was going to Florida. I didn't know that.
No.
Oh, you should have said something.
I didn't say I knew he was going to Florida.
Oh.
But if you listen to my interviews, I've been very consistent that it was going to be very difficult and challenging for the Blues to pull this off. Okay, I know on your radio show it's like a joke around, having fun.
I know where you're at.
You know what I'm saying? And it's called hot take, right? So you give a hot take and whatever. Listen, I knew from the very beginning. I broke it down several times on several different shows in terms of what contracts would need to go and to make a deal like this. Yeah. Okay, now when you look at the deal he got from Florida, listen, they gave up a Hart Trophy finalist. They got a Hart Trophy finalist coming in return. But here's what it comes down to, which maybe I didn't necessarily or anybody read into that well, and I don't think anybody's talking about it. I think he wanted to go to Florida all along.
I bet he did. Why wouldn't you? Why would you not want to go to Florida?
So I think Florida was his number one. I can tell you that. That was his number one option. And sure, there were other teams involved, but it wasn't about what the trades were and all this type of stuff. Listen, Matthew was going to be able to choose where he wanted to go because he could sign an extension, and no team was going to make this deal unless they had an extension in their back pocket.
Yeah, but I'm telling him.
So he chose Florida.
Okay,
and he let every team know personally. He made phone calls to say, "Listen, I'm not coming
He did the
St.
right thing
Louis,
on that, yeah.
Tom Dundon. I'll tell you another team that no one's talking about that he
Carolina.
talked to. Well, people are talking about that, but nobody is talking about the New York Islanders, and he had personal conversations with Lou Lamoriello too.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be in Florida.
And he
listen,
wanted to go to Florida.
Why wouldn't you?
And his parents are building a house there. I'm not saying that that's the end-all, be-all, but like it's amazing how it all comes together.
Look at everything though. Like if you're a superstar like that, you don't need to be in a big market and be like, I got to get my name out there. No, you don't. You're the biggest fucking star in the NHL right now. You go down to Florida, like the weather. I mean, Tampa Bay and playing for Florida, like those are the two big hot spots. Like why wouldn't you want to play there? You're saving money. You could have a fucking mansion on the beach. Like every day is you could do something outside. You can golf. Like it's just they got a good team.
Let me break it down to you this way also, what these teams are doing right now. Florida, as an example, Vegas has been doing this. Nashville is starting to do it a little bit. They did it with Yossi's contract. They did it with a portion of Duchesne's contract as well, where they're able to hand out this crazy, massive signing bonus money. Teams are able to ask for it, and the signing bonus money isn't taxed. The salary is.
I know.
The signing bonus money isn't. Plus,
can't get bought out.
you look at your salary. Well, yeah, for that much money, and then you look at your salary that you're making. Half of those games are being played elsewhere. You're getting taxed a lot when you play in the Eastern Conference, as you know, Cam, and you're playing in New York.
Yeah,
you're
man.
playing in Canada. You're being taxed a shit ton.
And in Philly too, where it's like the sport tax.
Nashville, they got that jock tax, man.
Remember that in Nashville? I remember playing Nashville for the Blues. We'd be down there every other game or playing Nashville. I don't think I made any money.
No.
They taxed me, but then they sued. The NHL payout, they sued, and I got a fucking check for like $22,000.
So you look at the signing bonus money Nashville's done recently, like I said, with Roman Josi and Duchesne. You know, Colorado, hey, the deals that Landeskog got, the deal that Makar got, I think only 2% of their contract, the total money, is signing bonus money. Yeah. I think Nichushkin actually came in and got 10%.
Oh, really?
From Colorado in signing bonus money. So, you know, Vegas has done this. But Florida, listen, their owner, I will say this about their owner. He's paying out of pocket for this new practice facility they're building in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, nice.
Like 65, 70 million bucks. He's paying out of his own money.
What you got to do.
So there's a lot of things that are coming into play. When you're an athlete and you're going to spend the next 8 years of your life.
Come on.
And you factor in everything, the luxury that comes with it, all that stuff, you know, living in South Florida. Put it this way. This isn't about the St. Louis Blues. It's not about the Carolina Hurricanes. It's not about the New York Islanders. It's not about the Vegas Golden Knights. It's not about any of those teams. This is all about Matthew Tkachuk. He made the choice of where he wanted to go. He played it perfectly. They were able to get a deal done with the Florida Panthers. That is where he wanted to go all along. So to say if we misread anything, maybe it was, you know, how much desire there was for him to come to St. Louis, that it was St. Louis or nothing, and there was nowhere else he wanted to go. This guy wanted to be in Florida, and he is now a Florida
Panther. And I'll tell you that, when that Friday night when it happened around 11 o'clock, I'm like, Florida. And I'm like, oh, yeah, fucking right, going to Florida. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Man, oh, man. So good for him. We love that family. And, no, man, here's the thing. Everybody was wrong. That's why it's like it's your job being an inside. It's so hard. It's so difficult. And you know more than anybody when it comes to Tkachuks. And it's just like.
But I never asked him. Like,
no,
I never said, like, where do you want to go?
No, I know.
What team? Like, there's certain questions that, especially when you know somebody.
But my point is.
That you just don't
all
ask,
these
you know?
people that you read on Twitter for the past 5 fucking days or 2 weeks, all you motherfuckers out there were all wrong. You're always fucking wrong.
Yeah.
They are always wrong.
And let me say this about Florida,
I mean,
okay? Because, you know, Jonathan Huberdeau goes to Calgary. Mackenzie Weegar goes to Calgary.
Yeah.
Weegar wants $5 million a year. He's not getting it from Florida. So that was easy to keep. We'll ship him out of town.
See ya.
Okay? Now you look at Huberdeau. Well, this guy's, what is he, 30 years old, whatever he is right now? He's 29, going on 30, and he's going to want an 8-year contract paying him $9 million a year. So you're talking about a guy that you're going to pay, you know, into his late 30s, 38, 39 years of age, you know, versus a guy that you're going to put that money to who's 24.
Yeah, there's no comparison.
You know what I mean?
He's
so
32 when he's
I don't
done.
know what the future is for, you know, Huberdeau in Calgary. Maybe he resigns. Maybe he doesn't want to resign there. I don't know. Who knows how that plays out? But again, you kind of have an idea of what these guys are all looking for, man. This guy's a Hart Trophy finalist. You know he's looking for a max deal. He's going to want an 8-year deal, and he's going to want $9 million a year Florida wasn't going to pay that. That made him expendable. Ship him out. Ship out Uyghur. They got a prospect and a draft pick or whatever else is involved there. Yeah. But you could slide in Matthew Tkachuk and make that work.
Those 30-year-old guys, man, that put up a lot of points at 30 and then you got to sign them for 8 years when they're 31.
But
I don't know.
At the end of the day, the player makes the decision. Everyone can say they want to play at home, but they also want the money. And when you're getting 68 of your $78 million paid in signing bonus money, and you get to live in Florida, and listen, being a Florida Panther now is different than what it used to be.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, because now they're competitive, they're good. He's got great players he can play with. They've got superstars, and it's not.
And their owner spending money.
He's spending cash.
There it is, dude.
There's some quiet rumblings going around that maybe he wants to sell in the near future. Some people close to him say it's not true. Other people say that maybe it is true. I don't know how that's going to play out with Florida moving down.
Hey,
but it doesn't matter. He's got that $76 million contract signed, sealed, and delivered.
But if I'm a superstar, dude, and Florida or Tampa has an opening, I'm fucking taking it. Mm-hmm. They're my top.
Yeah.
If I'm a player, dude, I want to play down in Florida.
So listen. I was considering interviews in Toronto, wherever I did the interviews. I said from the very beginning, man, do it. Having to move money, which is hard, and I told you how a GM had reached out and said, hey, moving money is more difficult than people understand. But, at the same time, Huberdeau, who didn't have a full no-trade, right? He had an 18 no-trade list, so obviously they could move him to Calgary. A lot of these teams, players, whatever, who have these no-trade lists, and I'll use Vladimir Tarasenko as an example. People throwing out what the offer was from St. Louis. Listen, I don't know how it could be considered an offer if the player was never going to go there. You're never going to make that trade. And I can tell you this, Vladimir Tarasenko, from what I understand, was never, ever asked to waive his no trade. A trade was never brought to his attention. He was never asked to go to Calgary.
Let me ask you
So
something.
that deal that everyone's talking about, Tarasenko, this, along with Scandella and a first-round pick, I think is what the rumored maybe that was discussed, but it was never a real offer because the player was never asked to waive his no trade, and he was never going to waive his no trade to go there.
To go to Calgary? No, he's not. And listen, I'd like to see where all these players that have no trade. I want to see what teams. I'd like to just see the average of the teams that people don't want to go to. Mm-hmm. They got to be all up, where. Up north,
but they're around. There's different places too. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying. I think a lot of teams are probably Canadian.
You think Seattle's going to become a destination for
eventually,
NHL players?
Absolutely,
because they want to spend money. I mean, they've got
a cool town, man.
They've been trying to get Klingberg, Kadri. There's things that are going on there, but they're not necessarily landing those players right now. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out.
Seattle's beautiful, man.
It's an amazing place to live.
It is. Travel's going to be a little bit difficult, but but it's a beautiful, beautiful place to live, man. Very expensive, but you know what? You're making money. You'll be okay. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm just curious on the majority of the teams that are on that list, and I don't know, man. It's interesting.
It was only a couple. I find it interesting that Matthew was willing to go to Carolina.
Carolina's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
North Carolina is one of my top states I'd live in.
I thought maybe Rod Brindamore would have been a little more involved in the recruiting. Apparently, it was all Tom Dundon, from what I understand.
Tommy D wanted him.
Tommy D, baby.
Fuck, I'd go to Carolina.
He's like, I'll give you a Topgolf. I'll give you your own Topgolf franchise.
North Carolina's awesome.
It is awesome.
So you've been to South Carolina. I love North Carolina and South Carolina.
Are there tax benefits there too? I think there might be.
It's pretty expensive, but it's not as expensive.
No, it's not expensive.
Anywhere on the East Coast is expensive, Andy. Like it is, okay?
Carolina, very affordable.
It is because it's a lot of old people and the population's not high. And there's, but my point is it's less expensive than Washington, D.C. and North.
Way less than Washington,
I
D.C.
know. I just fucking said that.
Yeah.
You need to turn your hearing aid up sometimes. People are complaining about it too.
Agreeing with
people
you,
are complaining about your take on a lot of things. Not your hockey stuff. Mm-hmm. You're always good on that. Mm-hmm. It's everything else in life that you talk about that people are like, is he joking?
How I lived in Hawaii? No, it's very sad.
No. Just how ignorant you are with just stories I bring up. You don't know shit about fuck.
Hey, well, you didn't know that. You didn't know what the tax ramifications are.
The fuck do I care about that for? Get out of here, dude. You're reaching for the stars.
Anyway, listen, St. Louis, and it's kind of like I always look at it whenever you're recruiting a big-time college athlete too. Football player, basketball player, and how the fans and media always get excited because they think that their hometown team or, hometown state football program, whatever, we're in the mix. We're one of his final three. Well, the home team's always considered one of the finalists.
Yeah.
You know, they never rule out the hometown team, even if they know that they're not going to go there.
I think they're going to Mizzou. Yeah, right.
But I think so. I think that's where maybe we misjudged it. Not that Matthew didn't want to come to St. Louis.
Of course he did.
Because of course he would. But at the same time, it wasn't his number one choice. Yeah. And going to Florida was the number one.
It might have been a circus here for him anyway, dude.
Well, wouldn't it be? I mean, you can't really avoid that. You can't avoid that.
Not that the fans are bad. Not that the media is that bad. Mm-hmm. It's just everything else.
Yeah, but let me ask you this:
your friends,
if you're Keith Tkachuk, who works for the Blues, and and you're around and whatever, and they're going to have their house in Florida and stuff like that. But I'm sure wherever he goes, people want to talk Blues hockey with him all the time, or talk hockey with him. That maybe would get a little tiresome if your son's on the team or if he's not.
Why did Matthew not? Why is he not scoring? Oh, Matthew's overpaid. Like it's too much. Mm-hmm. It's a bubble here, dude. Yeah. The fans are unbelievable. Yeah. The media's easy to deal with. But it's a fucking bubble, especially you grow up here, man. Your friends, it's just annoying at times.
I will say this though: this is the first true sign and trade, from what I understand, in hockey history.
Huh?
It's never happened before.
Oh, really?
Where you sign with your team and then get traded. A lot of times, players get traded right away and then they sign.
Yeah.
But they, that's why I didn't understand why Toronto didn't do that sign and trade with Edmonton with Zach Hyman a year ago. And they didn't want to get, it's like they could have gotten something in return, and the player could have gotten an 8-year deal versus a 7-year deal and brought that AAV down a little bit for Edmonton too. But for whatever reason, Kyle Dubas didn't want to do it.
So how's that organization holding up right now?
Who Toronto? Mm-hmm. Well, everyone's they're freaking out now because everyone's like trying to plant the seed that like Austin Matthews is going to be gone in a year or two.
Well, I don't know.
He probably will.
Probably will. You probably will.
I don't know if he's going to go to Arizona. I think Arizona's going to be. I think they're looking at it like, hey, we'll be in position to go buy a player in 2025.
I'm just thinking, I'd still play for Edmonton over Carolina or Arizona right now.
Would you?
Yes, I would.
You'd rather live there?
No, but I'd rather play for that team instead of 5,000 fuck people.
If you really had the option right now, if they said, hey, we're giving you a 5-year contract, you're going to go play in Edmonton, or you're going to go play in Arizona. You're choosing Edmonton.
I'm going to choose Edmonton right now. That's how I think of that whole organization in Arizona. Mm-hmm. Seriously, it's embarrassing. I'm going to play in Edmonton, and I'll pay the extra taxes, and I'll be fucking freezing cold, but I'll be a superstar up there.
I'll tell you this.
No, listen to me. Yeah. Before you interrupt me like you always do. But you're a superstar up there. My car is going to be fucking you're going to get a free car. People are going to love you. Yeah, it's cold as shit, but it's a fucking real organization,
Family
right?
can't get there.
Family can't get there, you're right. But I'm still playing there over Arizona the next 3 years.
Okay.
I'm not playing in front of 5,000 fucking people in a goddamn.
Hey, they're going to be tough though. They are going to be a tough team.
So naive with stuff. It's a joke
with Cassian and
it's a joke down
Richie
there, dude. I'm sorry.
Guys.
And I love Clayton, and we love old boy GM over there too.
Yeah,
Billy Armstrong. We love him.
Well, he's not the owner.
I said the GM.
I know. I'm just saying.
No, I know, but it's a joke down there. I'm sorry.
I mean, the GM doesn't decide where they play and all that stuff.
Oh, they don't? I didn't know that. Thanks, Andy. Tell me more things.
They don't decide.
I'm just letting you know. Hey, you know how I am about going to Canada right now.
Hey, Chychrun.
I'm telling you.
People wondering why that deal didn't get done. I'll throw this out there too about Chychrun from Arizona. I mean, if Hagel, who went from Chicago to Tampa Bay, I think he returned 2 second-round picks, something like that. Mm-hmm. They want 2 firsts and a prospect.
They're going to be loaded.
Otherwise, you're not going to get Chychrun.
Yeah, all right. Chychrun's making 4.3. He's making 4.5.
Someone's a great value, yeah.
Great value. He's got a couple more years left.
For what he brings to the table. So...
yeah, they're going to be good. Listen, they just need to crawl out of this stupid.
So you can try to chirp me all you want about Matthew and whatever. Yeah, listen, I
didn't even chirp you. I don't fuck with you on that stuff. I fuck with you on everything else because you bring it on yourself.
But Florida,
you knew your shit on stuff.
Florida was and I said this several times. Whenever it's going to be a trade, you can't ever really predict where a trade's going to go down. In terms of you can kind of have a guess and whatever, but you really never know. But I think the biggest takeaway of all of this, which I don't think is getting enough attention, is the fact that his number one choice, Matthew Tkachuk's number one destination, was to be a Florida Panther.
Yeah, and I look at it, and I didn't think of it before, and now that I look at it and think about it, I'm like, I get it.
Everyone got excited about the possibility and the prospects of it.
Well, that's St. Louis as a whole.
But, hey.
But here's another thing that we learned from this whole thing.
Yeah.
All you guys were fucking wrong about everything.
But and I said this several times too. I said this to you also, and I think this ended up being the case. I think in a perfect world for Doug Armstrong and the St. Louis Blues, they would have told Matthew, I'm sure they said, hey, listen, play out your final year. And then come to us as a UFA, and we'll get it done. That would have been the easiest and best way for it to happen for a team like St. Louis. But when you've got to shed $9 million plus in cap space.
And a couple superstars.
But I do, because I understand the Blues were willing to match that offer. I don't know if they would have matched the signing bonus money, but, obviously they were in the ballpark. I mean, they weren't offering him like 8 times 8 or something like that. It started with a 9, and they were willing to go, if not right at what Matthew got from Florida, certainly right there in the ballpark to make things at least, give him real serious consideration. If you look at the way the Blues conduct their business and the way they have in the past, I find it hard to believe that they would have done, structured the deal in the same way. They wouldn't do it that way. And it benefits the player to have the deal structured like that, where you're getting all that signing bonus money because it's not getting taxed.
Oh,
God. They're in Florida.
So many benefits. I mean,
when it's signing bonus money versus the salary. So in a perfect world for the Blues, it's like, hey, go play out your final year and then come to us as a UFA and we'll get it done. But, listen, shedding money, Tarasenko, 7.5, that is, if they could have moved him, maybe they would have and whatever. But again, he wasn't going to Calgary.
No, he's not.
And, you're not trading Ryan O'Reilly. You look at the players who are making 6.5. You're not moving Braden Shen. You're probably not moving Colton Parayko, and you're not moving Justin Farr. So I don't know how you get it done. Everyone's like, Jordan Kyrou is the centerpiece. Well, he's making 2.8 right now.
Yeah.
So they're getting a guy who's an 80-point player, 30-goal scorer. He didn't hit 30 yet, but he will. He hit 27, missed some games down the stretch. And he's going to be the centerpiece. And then you got to move another really good – what? I don't know
a kid that you drafted, that you stole out of the second round, that you developed, that's going to be a superstar.
Makes 2.8.
Makes 2.8. Now you're going to get rid of him? Like, I don't know, man. Listen, when you draft a kid and you develop him, like, that's your baby.
But I was told –
you don't want to get rid of those guys.
Jordan Kyrou was never part of any deal.
Oh, really? Yeah, but – yeah, okay.
They don't want to move him. Plus,
no.
he brings we all know what element he brings to the table.
He's going to bring speed, right? And they need that.
You take him out of the...
You slow down, dude. You slow down. You're skating like you. You're like a you out there. Toe picking. Slower than dog shit. Jordan Kyrou speeds your team up, man. It's very noticeable.
Yeah. And he's got good chemistry with the young guy. You want to keep your young players who produce, man.
Yeah, you do.
So, anyway, Florida had the luxury of not being able to agree to a contract. They probably weren't willing to go more than 5 years with Huberdeau. And if he's looking for 8 years in that $9 million range, which I'm sure he is, as he should be as a Hart Trophy finalist, I'd rather have the 24-year-old and put my money in him.
Shit.
Plus, let's be honest now. Let's look at the Florida Panthers and what their biggest issue has been, and who they have to go toe-to-toe with. You look at Tampa Bay right down the road, and they've got those big bodies. They've got, Corey Perry. They got Pat Maroon. Now, they got a player now that can go toe-to-toe with those guys, too.
Yeah, he's going to disrupt. He'll disrupt a little bit.
Yeah.
They'll be worrying about him, and he'll be standing in front of the net doing his thing, scoring some big-time goals.
I'm sure Barkov's upset. Huberdeau's his boy. They're tight. They had a lot of success together.
He'll get 100 points with Matthew.
But, it's a great hockey trade for Florida on a couple different fronts, not just because, they were able to secure the player and made the deal. They need a player like this to get over the hump and get to the next level.
I agree.
They've been missing some of that sandpaper, so that's what they got, baby.
They got to do.
All right, listen, are we going to keep it kind of short here?
Yeah. We got along with Monty.
We got along with Jim Montgomery,
yeah,
who came into our beautiful studio and did it live.
Did it live, man. He's in a good mood. He's in a good spot.
Great spot.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, we broke it all down, man, with him, and he's got an interesting story. Kind of had to crawl out of a hole, and it all worked out. And he, it was weird when he did come here. He got fired from Dallas. I remember being in an alumni room with all the guys, and all of a sudden he fucking comes in. I go, "What's up? Like, what up, Monty? Like, what's going on?" Mm-hmm. Came right in, put on equipment. We went out there, had a good time, shot the shit. He was a
well. The one thing about Jim Montgomery is he's always been a cool guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who's always been able to interact and get along. I mean, he even talks about it in the interview. I can get along with the young guys, or I can get along with the veteran guys. I can get along with the guys that are making 800. I can get along with the guys that are making 8.5.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's how you have to be dynamic like that.
Yeah.
Now, not everybody's going to like you, just like you said. You're not going to get along with everybody.
Right.
But I could relate and talk to the big boys, the small guys. That guy's been everywhere. He went. We didn't even talk about. He was over in Russia. We did talk about that, but he was in Germany. He played and coached for so many different teams. You just learn and learn and learn. He's got a hockey mind. He dug himself out of this hole,
Yeah.
and he's doing great now. And I love to fucking see that. And we got to give shout-outs to fucking Army,
Tommy
Stillman,
Yep.
to Big Walt, to
Yep.
Big Al, all those guys,
Yep.
man. They gave him a second chance, and
Yes.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and to push for it.
Damn right. And now look at him.
You know,
Good
it's just,
job.
well, because he doesn't get that opportunity if the Blues don't give him the chance.
Well, he had to show his face, Andy.
That's right.
Just like you told me with stuff. Like sometimes you got to just show your face places if you want somebody to see you.
Yeah.
You know? And he did. And he came in the locker room. Now people are talking about it. Like, well, what's Monty doing? And then everything kind of came together because of old boy who left. What's his name from the Bruins back in the day?
Oh, Cassidy?
No, the coach. He was an assistant coach, Savard. And
Mark Savard.
Mark
yeah.
Savard. And,
Yeah.
and there's a spot open. He was there in the mix. His face was there.
But he made the coaching. I mean, he really, I think also, they looked at it from a hockey standpoint too. Obviously, he had to show that all his personal issues, you know, they were under control. But from a hockey standpoint, you're getting like an NHL head coach. You're adding him to your coaching staff.
How good was that coaching
I thought the
staff?
Blues had the best coaching staff in the league last year, man. I really mean that.
I believe you.
And the way that he talks about Chief and with the personality and the knowledge that Steve Ott doesn't get credit for.
Yeah.
Because Steve Ott's got, you know, a lot of knowledge, and you look at the way that he ran that power play, how successful that power play was, it just doesn't happen overnight. You know, so, and Mike Van Ryn obviously is a guy who's been a head coach in the past, and all these guys are going to get
They're
opportunities.
all gone. Yeah.
They're all going to get
They're all gonna be
opportunities
gone.
to become head coaches before not too long. So I'll give Boston credit too, but Boston did their due diligence.
Did.
Trust me, they did their due diligence, and they talked to everybody, and they obviously feel comfortable. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Monty does here in Boston. People are going to love this interview. We get into an awful lot with Jim Montgomery. Plus, he was a hell of a player back in the day.
Yeah, he was, man.
I used to work for the River Otters when he played for the River.
Oh, yeah,
he
the
finished
River
his, I
Otters.
think he finished his career as like a player
Was
coach.
Jamie Rivers coaching?
No, he coached the Chill.
Oh, that's right. Where they won 2 games?
I don't know, but Monty was like the player coach.
Oh, yeah.
You ever had a player coach
yes.
on your team?
Yes, I have.
Where?
In Nottingham.
Okay, so was everybody cool with the player coach?
Oh, well, there was that in the league, but on our team we were loaded. We didn't have that, but other teams in the league did.
Oh, no, I didn't know if you play. I said, if you ever played on a team where you had a teammate who was also a coach?
Nah, no, man. I didn't even play in the East Coast League, dude. Mm-hmm. So no, you think American League? You're gonna have it? No, and I played American League and NHL, and that's it. Didn't have it in the OHL.
Did you consider playing in the Coast when it was all said?
Why would I
came back?
Why would I consider playing? Wait, what's wrong with you?
How do you know when it's over?
Well, I knew it was over. Well, I probably could have got a job with Lou Meyer. Brought me out to training camp with the Leafs at the time when he moved to the Leafs. Mm-hmm. But I was so fucking done with everything. I just needed to get out. I was getting drug tested fucking 3 times a week. I hated everything to do with it. I was miserable. And the Nottingham thing popped up, and I needed to get a year to figure out what I was going to do next, and it all worked out. So I just need to get the fuck out of the American League, man. I just need something new. Kate and I wanted a fun, happy place, so we went to Nottingham and got
the
treated
American
like
League.
royalty.
It's not happy. It's not fun there.
Oh, fuck no. It's miserable. I didn't like it. But Nottingham was awesome. Like, I'm still fighting guys left and right, but just everything was just different. It was beautiful. You're going to Scotland. Yeah, I'm not getting paid as much money, but like, I don't know, man. I just needed to get the fuck away.
Well, you get to a certain point in your career, it's not just about the hockey. Like, you know, guys are gutting it out and grinding it out down in the American League with the NHL dreams. You know what I'm saying? And that's why they do it. But you know, you get to a certain. Everybody's different and in a different stage of their career and their life. And
I was done, Andy.
I tell people all the time, like these young kids, man, listen, play as long as you can. Go enjoy life.
Yeah.
And see, let hockey allow you to see the world. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I get that, man. I just think if you're 27 years old and you're grinding in the coast and you haven't saved a dime, and you know that you got to still find a different job, I'd say get out of there. It's a hard decision to make, but you don't want to be 30 years old. You might as well be 27 starting your second career than 30. You got 3 years ahead. If you're not making any money, you know you're not getting called up to the American League, which you usually don't know. But if you could sense that you're just going to be a East Coast forever kind of guy, and you're not saving money, I'd say don't play forever. Figure out what the fuck you want to do and start your career at a younger age rather than grind it and not get anything accomplished in the East Coast. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
No. I'll give...
you wouldn't know because you never played.
I'll give David Quinn a shout-out, too, for going to San Jose. He was great when he came on with us. Whatever.
And Cunnin. Lukey, too.
And Lukey, too.
Yeah, I gave him a little text the other day.
He's got that... David Quinn and Greer have that BU connection, from back in the day.
Who?
So Mike Greer, the GM.
Oh, yeah.
And David Quinn. They got that BU connection.
Cool.
So, that's no surprise that
that
he landed there. That he landed there in San Jose.
I like him though, Quinner.
But you know what I'm saying? They know each other, dude.
He's a cool cat. Remember, we interviewed him. He was with his wife driving up.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He
We're
was
like,
great,
don't
dude.
worry, he's gonna get a job. He'll get out of your hair. He was awesome, man.
Yeah,
handsome bugger. Good.
He
Lord.
wanted that Boston job.
I bet.
And
that's a big time job.
Oh yeah,
top fucking original.
Are
16?
you surprised, Monty? He's landed on his feet as fast as he has.
No. Nope. I could just talk to him and know. No.
What'd you learn?
No, I just know I could just tell, man. You just tell he's a good guy and people respect the shit out of him. So no, I'm not surprised.
It's like, we got this coach is available to us. He fell in our lap.
Okay. He's okay now. Yeah.
We'll take him.
Let's go.
All right, enjoy the interview, man. Let's get right to it. As always, Cam Strick Podcast brought to you by Hair Club Cam.
Yeah, baby. Hair Club. Men and women.
Yeah,
don't let it go.
Tell the people what they can get there.
Well, you can get new hair. It's actually your own hair. Or you can get a wig. Or you can do all kinds of shit.
You can regrow. You can replace.
Yeah. It's easy to go. All you have to do is walk in there and just set up an appointment, and they'll put this little thing on your head, and they'll be like, oh, this is where you're losing your hair. Here's your options. We have payment plans. If you want to get the big surgery done like I did, where they put where my front part's still pretty good. I still got the cul-de-sac in the back of my head, but they have so many different options, and you got to do it while you can, man, because the more hair you lose, the more expensive it's going to be.
Well, that's a very important part.
And so get it done.
Yeah.
Don't be shy just to walk in there. No one gives a fuck. No one's judging you. Everybody that works in there has the same goddamn problem. That's why they're working there.
Yeah.
So don't be a pussy. If you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you look at your bed sheets, and you got hair everywhere, go try Hair Club. Go see what they have to say.
Is that really what happens?
Yeah.
In your sleep?
Andy, don't act like you have such a luscious, thick
don't.
hair to hair. I'll post that one picture of you interviewing somebody after the parade.
During the parade.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I got all
you look kind of like your hairline was looking like mine, but I don't like to chirp people about it. You like to chirp me for my looks. I don't do that. Although you are skinny. And you need to work on your upper body a little bit. But other than that,
by the way, I'm going to start getting back in the gym. I took a little bit of time off because of the pandemic and everything, but I am going to get back into the gym. I just feel like my shoulder is hanging on a thread. Like it's going to snap at some point.
I'm just going to ignore you when I'm bored.
That it's just going to rip apart, So I feel like a little bit of pain. When it's going to rip out. You ever had a shoulder injury?
No, Andy. I wasn't an athlete like you.
So you don't want that to happen. But 800-279-7878, and use that. You go to our landing page.
Yeah, go to the landing page and set it up. It's easy.
Yeah, you'll save some money.
Go look it up. Quit losing your goddamn hair.
Hairclub.com/Cam-Strick.
Yeah, baby.
All right, CarShield and CarShield.com. 800-857-2481. 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code Cam. I know it's embarrassing, but it's going to save you 10%. That's why I tell you to do it. So it's okay to go ahead and do that.
Just do it.
And then listen, you never know when something's going to go down in your car. It could be an alternator, a starter. I mean, something's going to cost a lot of money, Cam.
Yeah,
it costs a lot of money. And if you have your protection from CarShield, you're saving money. You may not think about it, but you're really saving a lot of money. And it costs very little money each month. And again, use that promo code. You're going to save even more money. You get to pick out where you take your car to have service. They hook you up with a rental car.
Cam Strick is the promo code in there.
It's
right?
Cam.
Oh, yeah, Cam.
That's why I say it's very embarrassing. Very embarrassing.
It's not Cam. No, it's Cam. You're right. It's Cam. But we love CarShield.
Yeah, and it'll save you 10%.
Damn right. Dang right.
How about our friends over at Waggle Golf, by the way?
Man, I ain't lying to you. You hooked me up.
I did.
They hooked me up. But you gave it to me. Look at the hat I'm wearing now. Mm-hmm. I have a big fucking head. So all you big old boys up in Canada, all you big old boys out in the United States, all over the world that listen here, if you got a huge melon like me, this golf attire, it fits my head perfectly. They hook me up with all kinds of different shit. I match my awesome thin shirt that even if it's 110 degrees out, you can't tell you're sweating. It's so comfortable.
It's got that material to it.
It is so fucking comfortable. Yeah. Even if you suck at golf like Andy does, you go out there, you're going to look pretty cool one way or the other. Andy's going to look pretty decent. I look awesome in that goddamn
But I'm better than you at golf.
Whatever. But the point is, I got hats that match my shirt. I look sharp. I feel confident. I'm going to hit it 350 down the motherfucking pipe because I got this swag, baby.
I know, man.
Okay, 240.
GetYourWaggleOn.com. Yeah. That is the website. They have Unbelievable stuff. Say hi to Travis real quick.
Travis, what's up, big boy? How you doing, man?
I mean, you almost ruined the deal, but it's a good thing
I call him a cake eater?
Well,
I didn't mean to do that.
It's a good thing that he believed in me and that we got the deal done. GetYourWagalon.com. Go there today and listen, select any of them, and they fit true to size. Yeah.
So what'd you get? Extra small?
I got medium.
Yeah, seriously, medium?
Yeah.
Medium.
I should have maybe gone with
You
a
anti
large or something, but I like the medium.
That's all good. You look good, man. You look young, good. I chirp you a lot because you annoy me whenever you interrupt me and you tell me stupid stories, but you look good. You look good.
Go to Bellman.com. Go there today. And out there in Troy, Missouri, they got the Buick GMC on one side of the street, the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on the other side of the street. And go check it out today. And if your credit score sucks, Cam, it doesn't matter at all. They will take you and they will treat you like family with open arms. They may even hug you when you walk in.
Sometimes your credit score, man, you just get behind. You're like,
you
fuck.
never know what causes that.
I know. It's like all of a sudden you're like, whoa, what the
fuck
Don't ever
miss a payment, Cam, because it'll fuck up your...
That's why it's nice to have a credit card at a young age. When your kids get to a certain age,
is it?
Yes.
I never got.
But you're in charge of it.
I never got a credit card till I was like 28 years old, probably.
Yeah, it's not good.
27, 26.
So when you're young and you get a credit card,
I never had a credit card.
You build your credit up. And listen, if you're a young kid,
I didn't want one.
Quit interrupting me.
I didn't want a credit card, though.
You didn't know what you wanted back then.
Because I didn't want to have debt and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, I know. But if your family gives you a credit card, they could take, if you're going to college, you take a credit card and they know exactly what you're spending. You give them a limit on it. You pay it off. And if they lose it, the credit card company actually takes care of you when you lose your credit card, unlike your debit card. So I don't know why we just brought that up, but it's good to fucking sometimes build your credit up.
Because they will take anybody.
I know.
Dude.
Sometimes you get fucked with your goddamn credit, and you're like, damn it. But Bellman will hook you up.
Yes, they
They're
will.
the best. No swinging dicks either, by the way.
No. And they will help you out for sure. So stop on in there, say hello, man. Best people you'll find anywhere. All right, Zero Carb Life Pizza. If you are looking for something to put in and include it as part of your workout routine, this is what you do. And it has 70+ grams of protein.
Makes you horny.
Is that true?
Yes.
Which one?
Horny.
No, which pizza?
Protein.
Is it? Oh, the protein.
It's protein that makes you
horny.
horny.
It's not the pizzas?
No, it's protein.
Do you think the pizzas maybe?
No, because they have protein in it.
72
That's why.
grams.
I'm telling you.
So you're saying this may happen when
Andy,
you have like a buffalo style or a beef crumble.
You work out and you eat this fucking protein
then
pizza.
What happens?
You're going to be like, girl, what's up?
Really?
I'm going to get you.
And they're like, what's gotten into you? And you're like, I just had 72 grams of protein.
And you're going to let her have it.
Okay.
And that's good and it's healthy. You want to be horny. When you're horny, you're confident.
Yeah, okay.
I know.
That's amazing.
That's why you're never confident.
That's amazing how that works. I eat a lot of protein.
Yeah, you're healthy, man. I'll give you that. I chirp you about
don't act
shit.
like I'm not healthy.
No, you are. Yeah. You're going to outlive me. I'll tell you that right now.
You think so?
God, yeah. You better. Yeah, you better. But yeah, no, protein does make you horny, man.
ZeroCarbLife.com. You got to spell life the right way. L-Y-F-E.
L-Y-F-E.
And they're available all over, man. But they will ship to you. And they put it in this nice little cooler. It's got dry ice and everything, so everything stays nice. And they've got just the crust, too, if you just want to buy the chicken crust, because that's what separates them from everybody else.
Yeah.
Their crust is like a chicken crust. I don't know if anybody else is doing this.
I don't know. Separate yourself.
That's what
Be
they've
different,
done.
Dude.
I always tell people that.
Always separate yourself.
What separates you from the pack?
It's like a band, just like anything.
You can't blend in.
Just like us in a podcast, Everything. You got to be different.
You don't want to blend in.
No.
For sure. All right, Mars Blade. You tried out those rollerblades,
dude. They are so fucking comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's a slipper. And my feet are so banged up and they're big and they're wide. And I put those damn things on. Mm-hmm. And I went out there, Andy, and I'm fucking toe dragging them cougars out the wazoo. Katie even got pissed at me because I'm toe dragging so many of them. She's like, stop it. Mm-hmm. You look too sexy. I'm like, I know. So I had to go back home,
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
comfortable as fuck.
So get that Mars Blade, by the way.
Oh, my.
All right, let's get to Jim Montgomery. You want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, let's get to Monty.
Let's go.
Who's now the head coach, baby, of the Boston Bruins. Enjoy this conversation. The Cam Strick Podcast is brought to you by CarShield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now to the interview. Welcome to the studio, Monty.
Great to be here, boys. Cam and Strick. I feel like I made the big time.
Hey, tell the people out there, because, we don't do the video. We just keep it strictly audio. We like people to use their own imagination, what's going on. Tell them how nice of a place this is.
Well, first of all, when you guys sent me the address, Clayton, I'm like, man, these guys have really hit the big time,
I tell everyone we got an office in Clayton.
And then you walk in here like, oh, okay. It's a closet.
Yeah. It's a big closet. It's a walk-in closet.
Hey, if you look at by the way, we were talking about Monty, our little emblem that we have here. Well,
logo.
The logo that we have, where it kind of looks just like us. So Andy used to have glasses on. Andy wanted those off, and he also told the guy to make his neck a lot bigger and his shoulders bigger, and then so he was like the same size as me. I'm like, no, you got to skinny his ass up a little bit.
So embarrassing.
It is a great trademark emblem you guys have there. It really is.
I know.
I
was a fan.
Do you speak French?
Fluently.
You do.
Je parle français très bien.
I mean, because you're like Montreal, but you never really your English is so good.
Well, my mother and father are both English. I think everyone assumes that everyone that grows up in Quebec is French.
Yes, we assume that.
But and
Americans
you would be correct, because it's probably 75% that way.
Yeah.
So
if you
kind of like if 25% of your audience is female.
Yes.
And now it's going to go up to 30%.
Well, probably.
Because of Andy.
Yeah, well.
Hey, if you go to Quebec, though, if you're in Quebec and you don't speak French, so is it hard to get a gig? Is it hard to get a job?
I think it is. The city of Montreal, the province of Quebec, unfortunately, not to be political, these are just facts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They tried the referendum back in 1976. The city of Montreal was further ahead of the city of Toronto as far as business and trade and commerce and everything. And but all the English people packed up and left because they thought they were going to have no more rights. Kind of like what you guys feel. That's what everyone felt that was living there. So they lost. At that point, it was 50-50 English, French.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And especially in Montreal, it might have been more English.
Yeah.
And now, since then, Toronto has grown by leaps and bounds, and Montreal hasn't grown, and now it's going to get worse because they introduced a new law now that's going to. It really protects the French culture, but it really hurts growth.
Yeah, and you got to balance that. Listen to that, Cam, because you didn't know any of that. You didn't know any of that.
Andy's so one-dimensional, Monty. I swear to God, and our fans know it too. And I hear it all day. He's so one. If we're not talking hockey, he's in fucking La La Land. He doesn't know shit.
That is not true.
Oh my God,
that is not true. So that's good information. But I like protecting the French culture. I was just there for the draft a few weeks ago, whatever, and I love Montreal, and I love the fact that you can go to a place not far away, and you feel like you're in a country that's far away.
Yep.
Like they speak a completely different language.
Yeah,
everybody's very nice.
It's got a European feel to it. I always like comparing cities. I think it's a lot like Chicago because it's got fashion, but it doesn't have the fashion of like New York City. And it's got great culinary. Any culinary taste you require and desire, you're going to get it both in Montreal and Chicago.
You don't think it has fashion like New York City and
Nothing
Montreal?
does, Andy.
No, they're very fashionable there.
Just when you go to Europe, it's the same thing. I don't know how cultured you are.
Yeah,
not.
Well, I've been to France.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you go there, you see the way people dress.
Yeah.
Like, it's always been remarked to me how when people go to Montreal, they can see a 55-year-old woman. She's got high heels on and she's dressed to the nines.
To the nines, yeah.
And that's just part of the culture.
And that's why we like going to Montreal when you're playing for a different team.
No question about
that.
Show. No question about that. Yeah. Hey, was your dad a hockey guy? Like, did he get you really into hockey? Was he pushing you hardcore to kind of turn into what you turned into?
No, he wasn't. My father actually won Canadian championships. He represented Canada in the Olympics at 1956 in Australia. He won a Canadian championship in basketball and football.
That's where you got your height from. I was wondering why you. I was wondering.
How big is he?
Yeah, my father was 6 foot.
Oh yeah.
My mother's 4'10", so that's where I got it.
So he's a basketball player. Really?
Yeah. But he understood the game really well because I think. It all goes back to when you talk about young kids, right? Should they only play one sport? You play multiple sports. If you're an athlete and you're smart, you can figure out the other sports.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah,
exactly right. We tell kids that too.
Yeah, we actually talk about that, and plus, you use different muscles and whatever. But I just think from a competitive standpoint, there's different types of compete level with different sports, you know, and some is aggressiveness, you know, like some's like anger, some is intelligence.
Yeah, my father grew up relatively, I wouldn't say poor, but poorer.
Yeah.
And I remember, I think he said when he was 11 or 10, he went to try out for his first hockey team because the YMCA had a pair of skates he could use. And he went and tried out, and Scotty Bowman was on the team, actually.
Really? Of course he was. That's the most
he's
Canadian
everywhere.
thing. That's the most Canadian thing
He's
ever.
everywhere.
Scotty Bowman's at the YMCA on the rec team. So
well, back then, that's how people played. They played for boys' clubs for
God.
your area, right? If you grew up, well, it would be like Clayton would have its own team, Kirkwood would have its own team.
we'd be on the
Chesterfield.
Clayton team.
Yeah, and he'd be on the Clay team to get their asses kicked.
Hey, so do you tell your kids that? Like, do your kids play multiple sports, or are they now at the age where it's just hockey?
Well, I want them to play multiple sports. It just they did when we were in Denver because they're at the age where it was easy to know people they played flag football, they played baseball, and they played hockey.
Yeah.
And lacrosse at 1 year. But when we moved to Dallas, we tried to. At Christmas time, we tried asking people to sign up for baseball. Hey, baseball goes year-round here.
Yeah, in Dallas. It's hard to jump on a team.
It's hard. And then when we got here, they kind of lost maybe the passion for baseball that they had when they were younger.
Were you surprised how big hockey is now here in St. Louis? Or did you always know that because you've always been connected to the city, even when you didn't live here?
I think I've always known it. I mean, I remember when I was still playing my last couple of years, I interned with Basil McRae in his insurance investing firm, I guess that's what you call it, firm. And I would go watch his teams play, his son's team. That was 1990 birth year. You know, and Chris Weidman was on that team.
Phil McRae, Tony Dehart, all these guys.
Dehart was on that. They're good then.
They won
really good.
They won a national championship.
That kid should have gone college.
Yeah.
Oh,
you
and
think
he
so?
knows it. You know,
Yeah.
I was just talking to him about this the other day, you know, because our kids were at the same, they play on the same team now, and they were at a birthday party, you know. It's like, it was tough, man. Like, Basil obviously had that connection to London, whatever. He was pulling kids out.
Yeah, he went to London.
There was another kid. Was it Bodker, another kid or whatever? St. Louis kid who went to London, whatever. Not to make it all.
Well, you're going to London, though. London provides more NHL players than any other team.
Yeah, I'm talking, though, people develop at different stages.
Yes.
Correct.
So I think Tony DeHart, if he would have been playing college hockey still at 21, would have been dominant and would have got signed to an NHL deal instead of – he had a great –
and he was
career.
drafted.
And look, he's doing really well. He's successful. But, I think a lot of success comes from how you're raised, not where you go to school or where you play junior.
Yeah.
It's your parents that really formulate or give you the work ethic and the intelligence and the
Were you drafted in the Quebec League? Like, I know you ended up you went the college route, which probably wasn't that popular or as popular as it is now for Canadian kids.
No, it wasn't. I was not drafted.
In the Quebec
look
League,
at me. I think my second year midget, I was 5'5", 125 pounds. So I wasn't getting drafted.
But where were you?
And thankfully I didn't because that allowed me to play 2 years of junior hockey, and then I got to go to University of Maine. And for me, I just wanted to play hockey as long as I could.
You look at his numbers at Maine, dude.
Yeah, dude, I did. So how'd you? So were you just thought the game well? I mean, you go into it. You probably had the puck the whole time. I mean, like, how'd you were you? Did you bust your ass as a kid? Did you dominate even at like being small like that?
See what they did in Quebec when I was growing up is they switched it. It was no hitting till Bantam like they do now.
Oh, okay.
Here in the States, which I thought actually hurt me in the long run. But I dominated till Pee Wee. Then I was 4'8" my first year hitting. I broke my arm and. I lost my confidence there for a year.
Yes.
But then I learned how to deal with it. You learn how to escape out of hits and stuff. Then I started becoming a dominant player. Like, I led my midget league in scoring in Montreal and stuff like that. And then went on to junior. And, I think as you get, even though I'm only 5'0" still, you end up, I was lucky I had a little bit of a thicker build, so I was able to be strong on pucks. Once you get to the NHL level, I think that's why I couldn't, because I don't care how strong I am on pucks at 180. You're not winning against 205.
Or 220.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how much bigger were you than, like, Paul Correa? Like, when he first showed up, how big was he?
Pretty cut up.
Yeah, he was 155, I think, in college, 158.
Yeah.
Skate like the wind, though. I mean,
had you ever seen anything like it?
Nothing. I had gone my whole life growing up. I guess I never played on a team with, even like the midget teams that I played on and played against guys in Montreal that were really good. None of them ended up being stars in the NHL. So, and you know, we got to college, and you know, you're playing against the Tony Amontes, and you're playing against some high-end players in Hockey East. But I'd never seen anyone like Paul. Paul came on the ice in 2 practices. I told our head coach, that's what a superstar is. Because
but he had a lot of like that. You knew who he was before he got there, or no? Like, I mean, people.
Well, yeah. I mean,
he was like a.
I did a lot of begging and pleading in the recruiting trail to get him.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. We knew how good he was.
Did you host him?
I hosted him. We went out for 2 dinners.
Yeah, he wasn't going anywhere
He
else.
eats really slow, doesn't he? Oh, my God. He chews every single piece of food for like 5 minutes.
Anything that he finds out is the healthiest for you, he's going to do.
You see, did he have the warm-up routine back then, too? With this, like his warm-up routine, he'd have his own private bag that Ray Halley would have to carry around for him because he'd have all this warm-up gear with different bands and stuff. He took care of his body better than anybody I've ever seen. It's unbelievable. And if you look at him, you could see him. He's made out of stone.
He probably didn't know as much about that back then, though, did he? I mean,
No, but he had a routine.
he did.
He did, but bands didn't exist.
No.
then, I don't think.
Bands.
No.
Just put up another 150 pounds under the bar.
Walt used to torture him in the locker room. God.
And he loves guys like that. He loves Walt.
Walt was.
Oh yeah, he does.
Everybody loves Walt.
Yeah,
How can you not?
he would take Walt to his mom's house for dinner, like when they would go to Vancouver all the time. Whatever. I don't even want to say some of the stuff that they would say in the locker room. Oh my God!
Complete opposite people of each other. It's
crazy. I know. Did you stay friends with Paul? Like, have you
I
always
go to
kept
dinner
in
with
touch?
him every time I'm in Anaheim. We go to dinner. He takes me to his favorite sushi place, which is the best sushi place I've ever been to.
Man.
Does he pick up the bill?
He does.
He does.
And I'm still not picking up the bill.
I know.
He's still picking it up.
It's like $400 anyway, just eating sushi over there, man. I bet.
Oh yeah.
He's surfing. He's doing all kinds. Hanging out with Troy Polamalu.
Palomalu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy with the hair from the Steelers back in the day.
Great safety.
Oh yeah, great. Look at you.
I know my sports.
You know your
Strick.
football.
I pretty much the 4 major sports. I know.
You're
pretty
going to a great sports town now.
Unreal.
In Boston.
The best.
Like, I mean, just
good. The best in the last 25 years.
They're
it's
the
not
best.
close.
Not even close.
Oh.
People are getting pissed at him because they're winning so much.
Dallas was good too. This is just from a historical standpoint. Just takes like there's nothing like Boston, really, is there?
Well, we were there, and I said, hey, Red Sox and Yankees are in town. I'd like to take my family if you can. And of course, thankfully, I'm grateful they made it happen. But we watched a game where they came back and won in extra innings.
Oh, really?
So it was
you
a
stayed
back
the whole
and forth
game.
My sons
Cam
and
would
I
have
did.
left in like the second inning.
Well, yeah. I know. It's the 3.5-hour games.
4.5 for this one went
And
extra
I've seen
innings.
Cubs cards. I've seen Cubs cards in Wrigley, and I've seen it
so
here.
you're saying that it's next level.
It's the next level. It's like, because Midwest people are great people.
And they're nice to each other.
They're nice.
Yeah,
It's probably the way it should be.
Right,
But
right.
there's an edge on the East Coast that
Yeah.
you don't see. And the Yankees fans who came out, they represented quite well. When you go the Let's Go Sox, they time it perfectly so you hear Let's Go Yanks in between the Sox. And
They know what they're doing.
It's unreal.
They're mean though, man. They love their sports. Like they truly do. If you see all the baseball brawls, it's always like in Yankee Stadium, Met Stadium. They're wild out there, man. They don't have that Midwest easy go. Oh, here, go in front of me. No. Everybody's in a hurry out there.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing worse. Philly's the worst. I played in Philly.
Yeah, you did.
We won the first 2 games of a series against the Rangers. Go up 2-0. And winner's going to semifinals, right? And we ended up losing the Devils that year. And Dave Brown and I have both didn't play those games. And Dave Brown, if people don't know, it was right on the same level as Bob Probert.
Yeah,
in that day. And we're walking out, and back then there was no underground parking in the old Spectrum. We're walking out, and there's 2 female Flyer fans sitting against the fence that separated where we parked from where they parked. And the one of them yells, "Hey, Brownie." And I go, and he looks there, he goes, "Why don't you retire so my season tickets cost less?" Oh. Right? And Dave Brown, I mean, the eyes started rolling in the back of his head. And thank God there's no
Twitter.
No, there's no Twitter. There's no phones back then.
Camera
He
phones.
goes, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to fly my sister out and she's going to come here and beat the crap out of you.
She's a lefty, too. He's a big lefty. Was he a good guy? We tried to get him on. I know he's working.
No, he was working.
Yeah, but he's a good guy. I heard
unreal human being. He's one of the best people I've ever been around. Like, it's funny, the 2 years that I spent training there, the only people that stayed all summer long were myself, him, and Rod Brindamore.
Oh, wow.
And 3 completely different people.
Oh, yeah.
But we were all disciplined as far as it came to training. Roddy just trained
at the next
animal.
Yeah.
I mean,
in between, you're doing squats, and say you're doing back then 3 sets of 8, and say you're doing, you're going 275, 315, whatever. Well, Rod would do that. In between, he'd be doing jump squats onto
oh my God.
And we'd be like, how? Like, I'm just ready to go when you're done doing the squats.
Did you really come up with the Legion of Doom? Like, you're the one who came up with that? Like Lindros, Leclerc, and Renberg, right?
Yep, that's right. I guess I got credit for it, but I always tell the story is my best friend, still my best friend from Montreal, we played together in midget hockey and stuff, Tommy Cacciopo. It's funny, me, him, and Ken Hughes, the GM of the Canadians, were
we had him on too, man. He was great.
We were aligned for a year.
Yeah.
So Tommy was a Flyers fan, and we would always go at each other growing up. And I was a Canadiens fan. And anyways, when I got traded there, he called me. When I got traded, I was sleeping in my apartment in Montreal, from Montreal to Philly. He called me. He goes, you got traded. We're going to the Flyers. He said, we're going to the Flyers, right?
I love it, though,
yeah.
man.
And then he's the one that said, he goes, man, that line had just taken off. They might have had 21 points in their last 5 or 6 games. And I said, Tommy, I go, it's amazing when they're out there. They're so big. They're so strong. I said, it's like the other team's doomed. They can't beat them in a finesse game, can't beat it. And he goes, they're like the Legion of Doom. I wasn't a wrestling fan, but I guess there was a Legion of Doom back then.
Yeah.
And
that's how it stuck.
I said it to a reporter, and he put it in the paper, and that's how it flew.
Listen, it's always interesting. You were in some great spots. I mean, you didn't have the longest career, playing career, but you play with some unbelievable players everywhere you went, including here in St. Louis, man. You're here with Hull and Shanahan. I mean, where were you in all of this? Like, were you hanging out with these guys like after games? I mean, like, how was that all going down with like those 2 rock stars here?
Oh, that's a good question. No, Shanny was single at that time.
Oh boy.
Well, I don't know if you could say he was single. He had his girlfriend in Toronto.
He's single.
Yeah, he's single.
You said it.
Yeah, Holly. He's single too.
No, he wasn't. He was with his first wife at the time.
Yeah.
And they just had their Jude was born that year. Yeah.
Allison, I think. Right?
Allison, correct. Yeah. Yep. Good memory on you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm not
so anyways,
but
those guys were great teammates, like when you were out with them, you were out with them. And it was dinners on the road and stuff.
Yeah.
Shanny occasionally would come out like with the rest of us bums. Back in the day.
Who were you close with here in St. Louis? Like, who were you hanging out with?
Brett Hedican, Jim Rivnek. Those were 2 primarily. We lived in the same complex over in Creve Coeur.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We called it, what was the show that was really popular back in the day? Melrose Place.
Oh, yeah.
That was our Melrose Place.
Brett Hedican, man. Yeah, he could fly. That guy.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable skater.
The guy can do everything. The guy can sing. I mean, he's built like a male model. Like, he's always been built like that. The guy's very talented besides being a great hockey player.
Yeah.
Man.
So, listen, like, people should look at it because, like, your college career was unbelievable. Jersey retired, most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament when you guys won the championship. Did you score like 3 goals in like the third period to come back and win that championship game?
That is correct.
Is that what happened? Who was on that Lake Superior State team? Because Dougie Waite was gone by then, right?
Dougie Waite had left 2 years prior. I'm trying to think who they had. They had a couple of guys that I think that played cups of coffee.
Okay.
But no
big names.
No big names. No.
But to score
Clayton
3
Beddoes.
goals in the third period to win a national championship. There's something to be.
What'd you guys do after that?
Oh, we ripped it up.
Man, what a way to go out. That was your senior year too, right?
It was, yeah. It was we had like 7 seniors that were still together. We had lost I guess maybe one had left us at the program, but Johnny's Roy was the other player. Him and I were the two together our first 3 years. Like we were neck and neck together. One led 1 year, I led the other in points, but he was the goal scorer.
Okay.
He still has the record for most goals at Maine. It's like 109 in 3 years.
Oh, jeez.
Because Scotty Pellerin was good too, man. He just missed out on the national championship team.
Scotty Pellerin was the Hobie Baker winner my junior year.
Really?
Yep. And
Maine was a powerhouse back then.
Back then, we were one of the top, definitely 5, but 3 programs.
Yeah.
I mean, I think over our 4 years, no one won more games.
They sustained it for a while. They started getting all those goalies and stuff. You know, they had Jimmy Howard and
Ben
well, Bishop
I think if you look at the program, Sean Walsh passed away, but Grant Stanbrook stayed and carried on. He's such a great recruiter.
When you mentioned his name, I think it was at your Bruins press conference. Somebody asked you who's had the most influence in your career. You mentioned the head coach, but you mentioned Grant Stanbrook. And my kid skates with John. John's now the skating coach, obviously with the Blues, as you know. You know John Stanbrook, and who lives here in St. Louis. He's been, considered the top skating coach here in town forever. And he sent me a text, man. That meant so much to the family. Yeah. You don't even think about it at the time you're saying that, but for those guys to get recognition who have been around for a long time, that means something.
Well, I think people that know me know I'm brutally honest, almost to a fault. And like John Stanbrook's a friend, and because I met him when I played at Maine, because he spent a year there before he actually moved out to Ohio, and then he moved on here, and he sent me that same text, and he just knows that like his father is by far like the best teacher. It doesn't matter position. I remember when we were in Dubuque, I'd bring him in 1 week a month. I paid him like a consultant fee as an assistant because he was living in Florida. He promised his wife he wouldn't work anymore as a coach. I mean, he worked till he was 74 or something. Yeah. And he comes in, and we had Johnny Gaudreau and Zemgus Girgensson was on our team. He's out there working. He has all these these 12 moves. It's a progression that he works on. John teaches the same things, and that's why John's an excellent teacher, because he understands how to get the most out of different people with the way, like for John skating. If you're a short stride skater, he's going to work at making you the best short stride skater possible. Yeah, he's going to try and lengthen it, obviously, and then the more gifted players, he works on whatever they may need for balance and stuff. But I remember Grant came off, and Grant would keep people out there forever. And one time, I remember after practice, I'm like, Jesus, I hear puck's still out. There's 4. Like we would start practice at 1:30. Now it's 4:00. The practice probably over at 2:30. So an hour and a half.
O'Reilly's there.
Hand-eye coordination.
But I remember him teaching Johnny some moves, and he worked on a particular move, kind of like attacking the offensive zone, skating down towards the goal line. And sure enough, Johnny scores a goal like that. He goes, "You see that little guy? That little guy assimilated my move yesterday."
That's a good feeling, though, man.
Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, How old was he at the time?
17.
So he hadn't been drafted yet?
No.
And he went in the 4th round?
He got drafted that year. He was Rookie of the Year in USHL.
Did you know who this kid was? Like, when you got him, like, did you know this kid was, like, a special player or, like,
Yeah. So the head scout I hired, it was also assistant coach, Bobby Kinsella, just got hired by the Blues. The great scout. He goes, "I know it's going to sound crazy," he goes, "but I got a 5'6" forward that is about 125 pounds." He goes, "He's unreal. He's the best offensive player in midget hockey in the U.S. last year." And I'm like, "Really? Where does he live?" He goes, "He lives in New Jersey." I look at where he lives. He lived where I practiced for the Flyers farm team. The Phantoms.
Really? Yeah. And his dad runs the rink out there, right?
Yeah. His dad ran the rink when I was there. We didn't know each other that well, but we, so I called John Stevens, a close friend who lives there, and he has sons the same age. And I'm like, "You know this Johnny Gaudreau kid?" He goes, "Oh yeah, he's out here practicing with." I go, "How good is he?" He goes, "From the bottom, from the tops in, he's one of the most talented players I've ever seen." We had 7 free agent cards as an expansion team. So I called him right away. We only had 2 left. Called him right away, and I said, "We want to." And we didn't know, but one team was going to go take him in the first round.
Oh, really?
In the USHL.
So, but as an expansion team, you could get out in front of that because you had these free agent cards.
Correct. Right? And so worked on the parents. And I think the fact that I was a small forward that, I had a lot of offense when I was with the Phantoms, where we won American Hockey League championship, that, they signed with us and came to camp. Northeastern told us he'd be with us for 3 years. I said, well, he's only going to be with us for 2 years.
And he stayed for
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year. See you later. Yep.
Yeah, he ended up going to Boston College, right?
Yeah.
He should have gotten D'Angelo, too. I think they were probably hanging out in the same ring. I think he came into the USHL the same year. We just had him. Yeah, we just had him on, actually.
Yeah, he was 15 in the league.
Yeah, I know.
15.
Yeah, that's a tough league to be 15
I
in.
thought he was 14.
He was 15.
Oh, he was
15.
He left when he was 14.
So when you're on an NHL bench, though, and you're playing against Johnny Gaudreau or any of these guys, Troy Terry, all these guys that you coached, you had that was he from Germany? Who's the kid you guys had? A sick player at Denver when you guys won a championship. Yeah.
First round Borgstrom.
Borgstrom. Yeah. You see these. He played in Chicago maybe last year, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So you see these guys on there. Do you make eye contact? I mean, do you have flashbacks to when these kids were like 17 years old? Like, can you allow yourself to be proud like for where they're at right now? You know,
for sure you are.
Yeah.
You take a lot of pride in their development because you really know them as people too.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. Like, like when we come back here to St. Louis, you know, it's like you develop relationships with these people, you know, and it doesn't matter who it is. Like I still have a text thread going with the Russians on the team here, you know. Yeah.
Just the Russians?
Well, I have others.
They're hilarious.
You know, like, I mean.
Yeah.
It's, you get threads going with the different people that that you assimilate, you know, that they hang out with. Like if I'm going to text Shen, it's going to be Shen, O'Reilly, Bozak, and maybe Bortuzzo.
Maybe Bortuzzo.
Yeah. How you were already on that.
How'd you like Denver's an awesome place to live, eh? Like you like Colorado?
It's the best place I've lived.
Isn't it cool?
When you're just talking for able to get some of the 4 seasons, but you never get brutally hot days like the previous 3 days here.
Oh God!
You just don't get them. You get 90, high 90s, no humidity, and
it's
when
still
the sun
cool
goes
at
down,
nighttime,
sun goes down.
There's
It's
shit to do.
60. Yeah, your kids can be outside, and it's sunny 309 days a year.
Oh.
Was that like you could have had a lifelong job there? I mean, you had so much success, and you're in a big city. It's probably the best college job in America. As long as the team's good, just based on location where you're living. There's other good ones, and I'm just saying.
You're all right.
If you're going to live in
financially, it's not as good as Big Ten schools. But
gotcha.
what you're saying, quality of life, I think you're 100%.
It's hard to walk away from that.
It was hard. Like there was other jobs that I had interviewed for in the NHL, and I was like, I'm not going to leave Denver for these.
Yeah.
But then it got to the point.
Didn't you interview in Florida?
Yes. And
you could have left for that. That's not a bad place.
I would not have, actually.
No,
really?
No. Just because, you know, the money those guys are making in college now, it's got to be a significant difference for you to leave.
Yeah.
You know, it just can't be like you're doubling your salary.
No.
You want to triple or quadruple it.
Yeah, and you're in charge there, and like you could deal with the players, easier to deal with the players at that age and stuff like that, right? And then,
well, I think you have more control of them. Dealing with them is the exact same way. If you're going to get them to buy into whatever you're doing, you better be prepared and you better connect with them as people.
Yeah,
you know, because I think anywhere in life, I think it's true in any discipline. If you whatever you appreciate is going to appreciate. So if you spend time with someone, they're going to know you value them, and in turn. But that's the hardest thing I find every time you go to a new spot is how quickly can you form that trust. And that's not easy because it takes time. You know, you just can't. Everyone talks about culture, and that's the buzzword it seems like for the last 5 years. But like culture takes time. It takes time for it to build the trust, and then then you got to work on it every day. But if that's part of your DNA, that's just who you are, and that's what you do every day.
Yeah. Are you more suited to have a young team? Or do you really like walking into a room where you've got established veterans like that? That's a better fit for you and your personality and all of that. Yeah,
I think I connect with both. To be honest, not just because. Now I will say this: everybody doesn't connect with everyone.
You're right.
That's impossible. Anyone says they connect, you can understand everyone, but that doesn't mean you necessarily connect. Some people are introverted, some people are extroverted, some people are very guarded. Like for me to have that relationship with the Russians are very guarded. And that's just because like I spent 6 months over there playing one of my last years, and my first month no one talked to me. So I was
why? Because they didn't
because it's like
It's just how it is.
it's just how it is. They
Were you the only North American player on the team?
Yeah, there was another guy there, but he was, I think, cut or whatever 2 weeks in. So what their culture is, we're not going to trust you. I think it's because of communism, is you can't trust the government, right?
Yeah.
Because you get too successful, they're going to take whatever you got.
They're going to get you.
Right? So you keep everything in your real circle, your family.
Yeah.
And so we're like a month into the season, and I had found a fun spot that was between the rink and my apartment hotel / kind of like a residential inn, residence inn type deal I was staying at. And I'd walk by there. So I finally started going into this establishment and started having some fun. So after one of our games, we beat one of these big teams. It's Kazan, it was called. They were one of the wealthiest teams at the time. We beat them in a big 4-3 win at home. And, well, I know where I'm going. These guys, no one ever said, hey, come with us. Because then they saw me dancing right at the place, and I'm having a good time.
By yourself?
And
That's the best.
well, I wasn't on a dance floor by myself.
I know. I get you. So they're like, oh, he's cool. I'm gonna
He's
hang out
cool.
with him.
And then all of a sudden, I'm part of their table. I'm
Yeah.
eating sushi. And then everywhere we went, they took me wherever they were going because they know that was.
And they take care of you too.
They take care of you, and now you're like family. It's unreal, and they're really, really loyal people once you're on the inside.
But what about the ownership and like the travel and stuff like that? Were you ever sitting back like, damn, I might not get fucking paid? Anything like that? Because you hear horror stories all the damn time.
All the time.
Oh, fuck.
I got 2 quick stories about that. So I didn't realize the year before I had I needed to have surgery. What do you call it? Surgery.
Sports hernia.
Sports hernia.
Oh.
Yeah. And I didn't know it.
Put that mesh.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
you
I
got the
didn't
scar
know
right
it
there.
because they tested me for regular hernia. They're like, you don't have hernia. And, in the American League, I'm like, okay, I'm going home. So the next year I get there and I tried rehabbing, but I didn't know the exact rehab because I was on my own as an independent and like independent. I didn't belong to Dallas Stars anymore. So went over there, and about 2.5 months in, I started getting these stabbing pains again, and they didn't know it. They thought it was my groin. I didn't know what it was either because I'm not a doctor. But anyways, they finally, after I think it was 4.5 months, 5 months almost, I was there. They came in one day and they're like, "You don't play here anymore." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, you're gone." I said, "Okay, I'm gone. As soon as you put that last check in I wasn't expecting the rest of my salary. Just give me what you owe me." You know what I mean? No way they were going to pay me the rest.
way.
Right.
Not a chance. What are you going to do? Hire a lawyer?
I was going to say, you're going to sue him?
Yeah,
You're going to sue him?
I
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Doesn't work that
So
way.
And then
did you get it?
I got my last
Oh,
paycheck.
you did. Okay,
Yep.
good.
And then I flew home. Yeah, they were good that way.
Yeah.
There was a big, where I was in Ufa, there was a big oil. I don't know if he was an oligarch's the word they use now. Back then he was an oil king. So
So they had money. You were with a good franchise that had some money or whatever. Is what you're saying.
well, they paid. That's
Yeah.
all I
Plane
got.
okay? Were you flights okay?
That's the second story.
Oh,
is
God.
when you fly into Russia, you fly into Moscow or St. Petersburg, you're on a regular plane. But once you fly in the league, it's unreal. So if you're just flying regular, people wait in the terminal, and then when it's time to get on the plane, they don't really have, especially in other cities outside those 2 big ones. Everything's you walk outside and get on the plane, walk upstairs. It's not you're going through the terminal doors. So everybody, there's no file in a line. They say it's ready. Everyone just goes, and it funnels in a big V. And you'll see people elbowing grandmothers out of the way to get to their seats.
I know.
It's just a different, you really have to get used to that. The other thing is I remember we were on the road. You always went on the road for 2 games. You play in 2 different cities. And so we played Thursday, and then we flew Thursday. We got our other city on Friday. And Saturday, we're playing in the middle of the afternoon. And the name of the town is escaping me right now. But that's
Vanguard.
It doesn't matter.
It is? Omsk. I was going to say.
Well, yeah, he knows geography.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
I can feel it. I can feel
And
it.
it's like the best city in Siberia. It's part of Siberia. When people told me we're going to Siberia, there's 3 teams there. None of it was really cold.
Didn't Vladdy play there?
Really?
Vladdy's from Novosibirsk. Yeah, that's where he's from.
It wasn't cold?
It was cold, but not freezing cold.
Really?
Nothing worse than cold days in Canada.
Okay.
Nothing worse.
I get you. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
But there's a whole nother part of Siberia that you can go another 12 hours north, I think, you know?
Different time zones.
Yeah.
Man. 15 different time zones over there.
So, listen.
But the pilot at the game, I'm not playing that game. Common theme, right? I'm not playing.
Welcome to my world.
He's doing shots at the bar.
He's doing vodka. He tried to buy me a vodka at the game.
Jesus.
I'm like, God, and I don't know if he's the head pilot, junior pilot. Then I see him there, and we're coming on the plane.
He's like,
Oh, my God.
stewardess, prepare for takeoff.
And you sit in your chair, and it's like, oh, my chair's not bolted down.
We flew into the city where Buchnevich is from.
Bucci.
And I told Bucci this. I said, I played in that town. I said, we couldn't practice. And he goes, why couldn't you practice? I said, we showed up at the rink, and the Zamboni driver went right through the boards.
Oh. Well, he was drinking.
No, he wasn't.
He was drinking.
HR kept him on.
Man, oh, man.
But see, you don't get that as much in the college. I mean, you got to love that about with the NHL game, whatever, just having like just a collection of players that come from all over the world, man. You meet so many different personalities, people that come from all different places. You know, like don't you like that, to get to know these people?
I do. I enjoy people, period. Getting to know them, getting to understand. Like, and that's what goes back to how hard it is to try and create that culture is you really have to invest time. And to be able, like, for me, like Buchnevich, you know, he comes over and we start talking, you know, first you start talking and your connection is hockey, but once you get to know like either families or who their favorite player was in Russia, then you get to start to know them as people and understand the way they think.
Yeah.
Like Buchnevich is, as we all know, an extremely talented and good hockey player.
Yeah.
And his mind for the game is off the charts. And even
he's constantly, I'm watching him during practice, on the board. He's always telling everyone like what to do. Like, you go here, you go there. He's grabbing the board. Like he's like I mean, he could be a coach one day, right? In terms of just his ability to. I mean, if he wants to be, I don't know. There's so many different things that go into it, but just his mind.
I think
for the
it would
game,
be hard for him to be a coach because he wouldn't understand why, and he still frustrates him as a player. He doesn't understand why the other guys don't understand what he sees.
Yes.
And I said, well, not everybody sees the game
hard
like
part.
you.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you look like at a guy like Gretzky, the best mind ever in the game, it's hard for him to be able to communicate what he sees and understands because he sees and understands things at a higher level than anybody else.
It's like, why don't you have eyes in the back of your head? I mean, it just comes natural for him.
He doesn't know what it's like to struggle with
Right.
understanding those things. And that's the same for like Magic Johnson.
Right.
Like, what do you mean you don't know who's open on the court, right?
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't
I
a
don't
great
see
coach
I don't see
either.
through those two bodies like
No,
you do.
no. So how'd you choose Dallas then? Like, you go to Dallas, how'd you like? Why? How come the Dallas Stars? How'd they win out?
How did they what?
Win out from Denver. Like, I mean, you had options, right? I mean, you're like
Yep.
the rising star, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yep. Well, you know, it was just when we looked at family first, because, you know, everything I've done has been, in, you know, I involved my wife, Emily, and the kids were too young then
Right.
to really
you got
involve.
4 kids, right?
Yeah. You know, and we were really looking, like New York Rangers were communicating with me at a high level, and
Yeah.
so were Dallas. So was Dallas. And we just thought taking our kids to a big city like New York with their practice rink, I just felt I never would have time at home. And we were right about that. Like, way more time with your family in Dallas. Now, the travel, way worse in Dallas. We knew that.
Yeah.
But that's why we decided this family decision. We thought Denver, Dallas, very similar. And for a lot of those reasons that we decided on Dallas, that was, and the number one reason is hockey-wise, they were in a position to win more than New York. New York had just done the letter about a complete rebuild, right?
It's not easy to play in New York. It's not easy to coach in New York. I mean, you got to live in Connecticut, or you got to. I mean, everything's difficult over there. It seems like.
Well, you know, and I had talked to many current coaches in the NHL at that time. You know, whether it's Babcock, McClellan, Stevens, I'm forgetting others. And I asked them, like, if you had a choice, what would you do? And everyone said, you got to go to Dallas. Like, you know, and so that's why I chose Dallas.
Aren't you tight with Babcock? Is that true? Do you guys know each other?
Yeah, we know each other well.
What's your like?
I call him anytime I want. He'll pick up and he'll do the same. He doesn't pick my brain as much as I pick his brain.
Because people were telling me before you came to St. Louis that if Babcock got another job, he'd probably bring you along with him.
I never asked him the question, but I feel that that my can't say for sure, right? I've never asked him, but I think there's a strong possibility that would have happened.
Yeah. How are your practices? Like, what do you try to get out in your practices? I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
You go 100 miles an hour flow.
Yeah, well, I guess in the NHL you don't have time for battle drills. Like, you got to incorporate it somehow, and you're maybe having one drill that's going to incorporate a battle where, because players got to keep themselves physically ready for the games. That's the number one thing. And I think I've learned a lot here from Craig Berube and the entire staff about, you know, how to maximize time a little more efficiently, say, than when I did in Dallas. There's zero board time here, where I would go to the board once or twice. And that's something I'm going to take and incorporate. I'm going to take and incorporate a lot of the drills that we did here that I saw accomplish a couple of things in once. But I think the most important thing in practice is, one, you're working on skill development. Like, players cannot pass and receive pucks enough in practice to be able to, besides shooting. Everyone thinks about shooting, but people got to be able to pass and receive pucks if they're ever going to be able to shoot, you know, and then that builds puck support should be into that. I don't care if you're doing 2 forwards and 1 D. There's a puck support element to it that should replicate a breakout or a neutral zone counter or an offensive zone sequence that happens in games. Yeah. You don't need 5 guys out there all the time. But that's a skill. There's a conditioning element that should be in there, whether it's a 15-second burst or like the one drill in practice you're going to work on should be about 30 seconds. You don't want to do 40 seconds. You don't want to tire the guys out. But a regular shift is 40 seconds. If guys can't go from transitioning, that's the last thing, is transitioning. You can't go from executing a good defensive turnover to transitioning to offense, and you know then you're not accomplishing much because it's not game-like enough. So you try and have 1 or 2 drills that'll be like that in practice.
Nice. All right. When you guys lost to St. Louis in Game 7, like we all know what happened on the St. Louis side. You walk into that room, you see. What was it like on your side? And in that game in general, did you feel like you were going to win it? I mean, Jamie Benn had the puck. He had the game-winning goal right on the doorstep, whatever. Bennington makes an unbelievable save or whatever. However it went down. You guys end up losing the game. Pat Maroon scores, as people know. But, like, what was the next hour like after that game ended?
Well, you know, the next hour was tough. I felt all along, I thought we were going to, after we won Game 5, I thought we were going to close it out in Game 6. Just because we had done that the previous. And I felt that we were gaining momentum in the series. Now, the Blues came out, and they did a great job.
6-1 or whatever. That's the game where...
It was 5-1, but
5-1.
Everyone forgets that game started out, the Blues were up. First 10 minutes, they dominated us. They were up 1-0.
Is that the game where Bishop got hit in the face?
By
The mask
in the shoulder.
Yeah. The mask comes off, and they score.
Yeah, and Parayko bomb, and I think...
Steiner maybe or something. He may have hit him. Or...
No, Schwartz, I think, deflected a puck at the net front after that.
What it was?
Another shot, I think that's what it was. You might be right, Steiner. Yeah. But that kind of sealed the game. But to me, last 10 minutes of the first, we took over, and we scored a power play goal, tie it up 1-1. And I kick myself to this day. I felt we're in a good spot. They came at us hard. We pushed back. We're in control. We're at home. And I didn't emphasize how we need to get at. We win this period, we're going to win the series. And we started out that second, we were in control, I felt. We didn't execute on 3 passes to the back door or missed them, however you want to look at it. And then Perron came down on a 2-on-1 and scored in the last 3 minutes of the second. That went 2-1. And we never recovered in that series. I felt the Blues blew us out in the third.
Yeah, Sammy Blais scored a goal.
That's
or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was the next shot after.
It was
after the Parayko goal with the mask off.
In between periods, you didn't.
I felt I should have really demanded everything, really shown a lot more emotion. You know, as a coach, you there's some times where you show emotion. There's sometimes where you just want to be, I guess, more professional, and it's all about X's and O's, and here's what, give them what they need.
Yeah.
But there's some times where, you know, and I had recognized it, but I didn't trust my gut. I'm like, they're professionals. I'm just going to give them what they need to do instead of demanding what they need. And you can't demand all the time. If you demand all the time, it falls on deaf ears.
They're not going to take it.
Is that an experience issue? I mean, that was your first year as a head coach in the NHL. Like, do you feel like you were ready for all of that, right? I mean, you come from college, whatever. I know you played in the NHL. You've been around the game for a long time and had a ton of success, but still, is there a learning curve for a coach?
Oh, there is for sure. Like, I think, you know, coming here to St. Louis, I learned a ton from Mike Van Ryn and Otter and Dave Alexander and Sean Farrell, the video coach, from X's and O's standpoint. But like with Chief understands the X's and O's, but he really has a great feel behind the bench and in with when to push, when not, and when to pull back with the players. And that's something I think you learn, and that's why I'm really grateful that I got the opportunity to work here with the Blues, because I think I'm so much better prepared. And going back to the Dallas situation is, you know, sometimes you think like, okay, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I made a conscious decision that this was the right thing to do. And the next time I come up, maybe demanding it might not be the right thing to do.
Right.
It's just a feel you have, and you go whatever your gut, as long as you trust your gut, you're going to live with it.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, we're all better coaches.
Yeah.
Everybody is on the couch, and our coaches are too.
I'm really good on the couch, so you know.
You know, and I think, you know, the other part, just touching back with St. Louis, is really grateful for the opportunity Mr. Stillman and Doug Armstrong gave me.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do for work.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
and then
so how'd that come about? Because I know Keith Tkachuk really had your back and was pushing for it. Al McInnes. I mean, these guys, right?
Boys,
so, you know, they really believe that this was gonna work for you here. So did you feel like, I mean, the whole Dallas situation goes down, and now you're looking for your next move. Did you feel like it was going to come as quick as it did? And the fact that it was St. Louis, how much easier did it make it for you and your family and everybody?
Well, maybe you don't realize. I knew it was going to make it. It was the best situation possible, but I was here already for 3 or 4 months before this happened. You know what I mean? And the opportunity came about. So
how did it come about? Like, who'd you first talk to?
You know what? I remember Barrett Jackman and I were coaching our kids together at the time, and driving out to the game on the radio, I hear like Sir Mark Savard's leaving the Blues.
Yeah.
And I get out of the car, I go, hey, did you hear about that, Jax? He goes, yeah. He goes, Otter texted me, and I wondered if I was interested, you know? And he goes, no, Monty might be interested. And obviously I was. And then literally, I think I got a text message from Walt 2 days later, like, would you be interested, you know? And then I got a phone call literally a day later from
Doug
Army. Yeah.
And you go meet with him and whatever.
I met with him twice at his favorite office. You know.
Oh yeah.
What, the Starbucks and
Starbucks.
Hey, that's my favorite office
I know.
too.
It's a lot of people's favorite.
9 a.m. yoga classes out at 9.
And he's like, I got another meeting at Starbucks. No, you don't.
Yeah, well, we went at 7:30, so
oh yeah,
we're more professional than you two.
Yeah, exactly.
So you meet, and then
I met with Mr. Stillman too. You know, and so it happened quick. I you know, Chief was in Philly at the time. I talked to him on the phone twice.
Did you know him at all?
We knew each other. We didn't really know each other. We were at the same training camp. One of his last years, I think it was '98 with the Flyers.
You tried to fight him?
No, well, you know, not everybody wants to go a guy that's 5'8" and a visor on, cut their hand, you know.
He might break his hand.
Yeah.
He can't fight you. God.
You know what was funny in training camp? I tell him that he doesn't remember this, but we used to have the option of doing a 26-mile bike ride in Peterborough with Flyers or a 6-mile run. I had done the 6 mile run the year before, and it was torturous. It finished with 2 huge hills. So I'm like, I'm doing the bike ride this year. And a bunch of us Phantoms had won the championship, and they send you out a minute apart or 30 seconds. Well, there's a reason why in the Tour de France they all draft off each other. It's so much easier to bike.
Oh, yeah.
So we got in line, and by the time we caught up to Chief, he's a B, I'm an M. We caught him pretty quick, and he's kind of just loafing along. And I said, hey, just get in the back of the line. I said, we all take turns. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You did in gym class or something, or we
Yeah,
train. The last guy has to beat the first
But you
guy.
have to do 26 miles at once? On the
Yeah,
bike?
it's not that hard,
It's
actually.
not?
On a bike, it's not
compared
that hard.
to Andy. I mean,
I'm throwing up already.
honest.
But Chief was great. Chief never came to the front line. He just drafted for about 20 miles, and then there was a marker like a mile left, and he just shot out of a cannon.
see you
Wow.
guys. Yep. It's like NASCAR.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, when you went into the locker room, like in Dallas the first time, you see Jamie Benn, you see all these guys, they're making a lot of money. Like, what were you a little nervous, like to even like you're a cool guy, like were you thinking like I got to balance being a coach, being a player's coach? Like, what was on your mind leading in that locker room, and how are you going to like establish yourself to these guys?
Yeah, it's a really good question, because when you first get there, I'm trying to get to know people as people, and that's the way I've always been. And I think you learn from that situation. I do think, and I know a couple of players remarked this to me. They thought because I want to get to know them as people that I wanted to be this super friendly players coach, and I think then they saw how demanding I was in practice, and then details in the game, they were like, they maybe thought, well, who is this guy?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, which one is he? Is this guy who wants to...
Is he one of us, or is he...
Yeah. Or is he a coach? Like,
Yeah.
And I just think that they understood that I was going to be me over time, and we developed really good relationships. And I'm talking about, the majority of the team. You're always going to have certain players that you didn't play enough. Everything comes down to ice time. Mm-hmm. I don't care if kid's 10 years old or 25 years old. Yeah. It's ice time. That's how, coach, if you like me, you're going to play me.
Exactly.
And I do feel I'm really lucky. Mm-hmm. Like, in the situation I'm going into Boston, like it's a really good team, but the leadership is, I think, unparalleled. And this is from everybody I've talked to. Yeah. I talked to Babcock, my buddy there that you tell me is my close friend.
Best friends. They're best friends.
Yeah, listen to his interview with us.
There's a reason why he's won at such a high level and so many different levels, because he is really good. And I talked to him, told him, I got the opportunity to talk to Bergeron on the phone a couple of times, and you feel like you're talking to a coach.
In French or English when you and Bergeron talk?
We started off in French and we went to English. And he just talked about how unreal a person he is. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you can always tell if a guy is a really good person by how he treats his wife, and he treated his wife great. And he's just like, how good he was, like, at understanding people and getting more out of other people. And he just said, like, he was as important to Sidney Crosby as Sidney Crosby was to him. Mm-hmm. And that says a lot, because obviously Sidney Crosby is Sid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bergeron coming back, is that what you're saying?
Not signed yet.
And Krejci, or is he still hanging out with Krug in South Carolina?
God, you know a lot. Hey?
Monty, I stay out of all the bullshit. He knows all this stuff.
You just brought up a great name, though. Torrey Krug. Yeah. What a great person.
You like that guy, huh? He is a great person, huh?
Just, you can talk to him. He's always prepared, mentally and physically. He's doing whatever he can to be his best version of himself for the team. And he thinks about the team. And the way he thinks now, having talked to a lot of players in Boston, you can see it's part of the culture there. Yeah. There's something that they really love about wearing the Spoke B. And that is something that, like, the culture's already established there. Like, I got to stay out of the way for that part.
Right.
I got to make sure that I'm prepared and giving them the opportunities with the rest of the staff to have success on the ice with their execution.
Are you because I don't want to ask a cliche question because I don't want the cliche answer. But how are you a better coach now? Like in your second stint as an NHL head coach versus when you first went to Dallas, do you feel like coming to St. Louis, everything you've been through, you feel like you are a different hockey coach, or are you the same coach?
Well, and I'm not going to give you a cliche answer because I hate cliches.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is what it is. Is that good enough?
Never heard that before.
We're gonna take it game by game.
By the way, that's my most hated cliche.
Yeah, I know.
I guess everything you do, I've always had a growth mindset. So, you take my personal situation, you go through that, you have to spend time in learning where did I go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the past, and then you look at where you lost it, and then you start, okay, what do I have to do to get better, And it's the same thing in coaching. Like, you get your first opportunity, and then your second opportunity, like there's no question to me coming here to the Blues, I'm significantly better for this next opportunity because you learn different ways to practice, different ways to do video, different ways to communicate. All those things that I've learned from the entire Blues staff, led by Chief, has made me better. And I've told every one of them that, and they know that. Like, I like to, I talk about connecting a lot. Like, David Alexander is a brilliant hockey mind.
Yeah, he's the goalie coach, yeah.
Yeah, and he's someone that, like, the penalty kill, for instance. Like, I called him, I'm like, we got to figure out our penalty kill. I'm like, it wasn't good enough last year. This is what I'm thinking. Like, and I showed him a bunch of clips, and the two teams that we narrowed it down to that we were going to steal from, so to speak, the X's and O's. And where it arrived from was Colorado. Colorado killed us 2 years ago. They were like 50% almost on the power play against what I call a push-down penalty kill. And their three best players, Rantanen, Makar, and McKinnon, we wanted to go after them. We didn't want them to beat us. The other two guys can beat us. You got to pick your poison.
Yep.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And the year before, they get one-timers from the dots. And that's tough on goalie. It's just
with those guys, yeah.
Well, with those guys. And it's why Tampa Bay's power play is so dynamic.
Yeah.
It's why Ovechkin.
Washington, yeah.
Those guys get to the good spots and good areas, and goal scorer.
But everybody knows it's happening and where they are.
Like, Ovi does the same thing every time. He's always open.
I mean, he's that good that he scores from the same spot. He's been doing it forever. Is he just too good? You just can't stop it?
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like, first of all, TJ Oshie was out for a lot this year.
Yeah.
Like, when we played them, this year, Washington didn't do anything against us on the power play.
He's such a threat in the bumper or whatever.
Yeah. So now they can move those guys around together. Like, all of a sudden, Ovi's on the back post. Yeah. He's not in his spot where you expect him to be.
They're not going to have Backstrom for much of the season either. You just wonder how that's going to,
So it's like, I remember when we played Boston this year, Pasternak wasn't there. Yeah. We didn't leave Bergeron in the bumper roll. Let the other guy beat us. Right. We're not letting him beat us.
You even let Marchand beat you.
Well, usually a puck's on Marchand's side.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we'd already have someone on. On top of him, so to speak.
Have you talked to Marchand, by the way?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah. The day that I was announced, he called me. I think he was Bahamas. I think he has a place. Yeah.
He's got a place there. He and Messier.
Why wouldn't
I don't know if it was Bahamas or Bermuda. I forget.
Whatever.
But I saw him when I was there.
They have a house there.
Fuck yeah. Damn. You kidding me?
But again, it just goes back to the same thing. Like, everybody I talk to talks about, what it's like there. And, the impressive thing that he said to us is, we're ready to be coach. We're ready, whatever you demand, we'll do. You don't hear that in your first conversation all the time. And it's like, because my first conversation usually isn't about hockey, because players don't want to talk about systems and like what we're going to be doing in the middle of the summer. Their minds are, it's my free time. Let's connect and good. I'll see you in training camp.
So didn't you have I was told that a few years back, you would like you'd be at Bruins training camp, like you were like around the team a little bit. Maybe I'm wrong. Hold on, you can answer that in a second. But was there like a connection with you and Sweeney? Do you guys go back? Like, what's the history between you two?
Yeah, I think when I was in the USHL, at that time, there was kind of antennas to Minnesota and Boston. Peter Chiarelli was roommates with the owner of the Dubuque at Harvard.
What a small world.
Yeah, and then he was our main owner owned 30% of the Wild, right? And he's been bought out since. Mm-hmm. So they said, well, I don't know if it was $5,000 each. They were gonna for me to talk about any players in the league that they might be draft eligible. Yeah. So that happened, and so then I asked them, can I come to development camp 1 year just to see how they run things and just learn, Mm-hmm. And so I went there 1 year, and I think I was part of 2 draft meetings that I would have met Don Sweeney at, and I was always impressed with Sweeney's ability. I remember him talking about certain defensemen. And he had noticed, I remember, and it's true, I remember him talking about this one defenseman that got drafted in the first round by another NHL team. And he's just like, I'm always going to worry about his pivot because he goes, I worry about his pivoting because of his hips and the way he played. And that's something like when I heard that, I'm like, this guy reminds me of Grant Stambrook. Like just that kind of detail watching someone.
He can see that.
He can see that. That's what John Stambrook sees. He goes, this guy, this is where
he's going to have hip issues.
Or
he can't pivot and get the puck.
Yeah. And sometimes that's correctable. But if they have hip issues, you can't fix that.
Yeah. Correct.
But like some people, like a lot of defensemen, you see them reach and they get their chest over their toes. Well, you can't. Your hips got to sink so that you can. Because if you're over your toes, you got to sink your hips and then pivot. Mm-hmm. It's too late.
Yeah, just like when J-Bo had that hip problem. He had that hip problem throughout the year, and he made like 3 different motions before he opened his hips up because he couldn't do it. But once he got better, you could tell everything was so much more smooth.
He became a dynamic defender that he's always been.
Yeah, everybody's crushing him too.
They were
when he was hurt. You can't really defend yourself sometimes as a player, can you? I mean, because people don't like to come out and say, well, I'm hurt.
Correct. And you're a competitor. So if your whole career you've been used to beating people to pucks, and because you're a competitor, you're still going to go there. Now you're there a second later, you're taking bigger hits.
Yeah. You're eating them. Yeah, you are.
Let me ask you this. Did you always believe you'd get another chance? Did you always know or think that you would?
I didn't. You go 2.5 years ago, not a chance, I thought. And then when I got the opportunity with the Blues, I was like, because people are like, oh, everyone believes in second chances.
Yeah.
You don't know that, right? And then that's why, like, Doug and Mr. Stillman, the entire Blues, Donnie Lux, all those people, like, I'm incredibly grateful for. Because if they don't give me that opportunity, I'm not a coach of the Boston Bruins.
No, you're
not. Not a chance. Not a chance.
And did any other teams offer you an assistant job? Like, was St. Louis the only team that did?
Yes, they were. I don't even know. I talked to maybe one other team, and I could just tell that for myself and for my family, it wouldn't have worked.
It worked to your advantage that the COVID thing, in a way, that the season got pushed back, don't you think? Because it didn't start till like January or whatever. Didn't that work?
I never thought of it that way because I hate COVID.
Oh, I know,
Jesus.
But you're right. COVID, that is a glass half full. I like it.
Because who knows? Like if it's July, if they're in position to or if you're in position to get the.
Thank you, COVID.
Yeah, it's probably too soon.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too soon. You're right.
What would help is just showing your face. And I remember seeing you in the locker room, in the alumni room, talking to all the boys. We're like, oh, shit, Monty's out here. And we're skating and stuff. You're talking to everybody. Now your face is there. And then, it's just good to show your face sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's one of the reasons coming back to St. Louis was great for me because I didn't realize – I knew how great – the Blues alumni was because I'd come back as a recruiter in college many times and been in the alumni room, but just the other people that are friends that I have in this town, like I got Mike Smallwood, Gary Weidman, Mike Murphy. Like, I'm coming back here. Murph's a great friend.
Yeah.
Golfing with him and Chris Weidman on Thursday.
Were you guys good buddies before you came back to St. Louis? Or
Oh, yeah.
okay.
We've been a long time.
Yeah, because I knew you and Smallwood, I think he asked me to drive his limo a long time ago. I was like the limo driver.
You are a limo driver, aren't you?
Back in the day.
Andy the limo driver.
But, because I remember that, too, seeing you in the alumni room, and you were showing your face. That had to be a little bit difficult at first, but I remember one time you were in there, and the Dallas Stars are on TV playing in the bubble. And, was that, what was that like to see the team all of a sudden reach the Stanley Cup final? Was that difficult for you?
No, it wasn't. Because of the people again. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Klingberg, you got Ben Bishop there. I know he was injured, he wasn't playing, but there's a lot of people I cared about.
Yeah.
For me, I'm happy for them. And then you talk about Rick Bowness is a wonderful man. John Stevens is there. Todd Nelson's there. And then the other people that people don't recognize, the trainers and the equipment guys that are incredible. There's the equipment guy in Dallas, Sudsy, him and I still text. When you develop relations, for me, I cheer for people. I don't cheer for teams anymore because, as you know, Cam, you get in the league, you've worn a couple of different sweaters. Yeah. It's about the people, and that's why, St. Louis here has always been a soft spot for me because of the people. Yeah. Not only Blues alumni, Blues players, the Blues organization, but the people of St. Louis are great people.
Jim Nill, congratulate you on getting the job in Boston.
Him and I texted each other about. I texted him when he hired DeBoer, and I think DeBoer is an outstanding coach. And I texted him, I said, that's a great hire, and he texted me back after the Bruins.
I like Pete, man. He was good. He doesn't say much. He'll come in, just does his thing, X's and O's. I like the practices. Sometimes I'd walk past him. He didn't say hi to me, and it kind of rattled me a little bit. But do you ever do that? By the way? I know it's a little thing, but when you're walking past somebody who's not really do you always just say hi to everybody? You're not going to walk past somebody. Little things like that add up and might rattle some kid.
I try to because I know what it was like to be a player, and that happened. I remember in the playoffs for the Flyers, Terry Murray was the coach. He's at a urinal. I come by, and I'm in the other urinal. I said, hey, Murph. And he was and now I recognize what it's like to be a coach, because sometimes your mind is on practice, or it's on your power play, or it's on travel. Your mind doesn't stop as a coach. As a player, you get ready for practice, you do your practice, and then after you're done your post-workout or whatever you're doing, your mind's gone.
Gone.
Yeah, am I going to the mall? Am I going to go,
What are we doing tonight?
Yeah,
I know.
What's for dinner? Yeah. That's a hard decision.
One thing that, I observe about Chief, though, is the way that his coaching staff all get along really well. I feel like you guys all got along, really well. Did you learn anything from that? Is there any takeaway in terms of how he interacts and kind of keeps his coaching staff together? Am I on the right path?
Oh, you're completely that is such a fun staff to walk into. It's nonstop ribbing each other. And I think that kind of humor, fun that you have adds to the fact that you like being around each other. And everybody in the National Hockey League's working. And if you can add the element of enjoying being around each other, going for dinners or whatever the case may be, I think it just makes it a lot. It helps the grind. The season's a grind. It gets hard no matter what team you are. Yeah. You all have your challenges, and I think being like that, and I think the players feed off that. Yeah. They know that the staff's in it together. So and they're having fun. It's okay for us to actually smile at practice and stuff.
Absolutely.
Who stands out player-wise from St. Louis that you walk away with and you're like, what, this guy, what a person, what a leader, what a play. Who's that guy for you? Or 5 or 10 or 15?
Yeah, that's a tough question, because the guys I'll leave out will,
I know, be
offended. But there's always certain players. It's just as person, you're connected with. But me, Bozak was always I know we had the Denver connection, but it's just we have the same sense of humor. We see the same things. David Perron, believe it or not, on the bench. Brendan Saad, he's really quiet, but he really enjoyed Otter and I would try and keep it loose in tense times, and he his text message to me afterwards, like, I'm going to miss the good one-liners on the bench, you know, like, but that's how you connect with different people. Mm-hmm. You know, it's, you know, like I think with someone like Robert Thomas, it was more of a serious connection, you know, and like with him on the bench, he would get the one-liners because he's got a great sense of humor, but for him, it was more about when I would see him going awry with his mental aspect of his game. Yeah. If he got too frustrated, you know, being able to help him center himself was something that we had developed a relationship through watching video and stuff where he knew I knew when he was getting out of balance for him not to be the best version of himself.
Let me ask you this. And because it's one thing for the players and whatever, but, you know, when you went through your struggles, give me a guy in hockey. Like you mentioned some of your friends. I know Gary Weidman, very unbelievable guy. Mike Smallwood, you mentioned him. These are great people. But is there a guy, someone in hockey that has always been there for you and that was there for you when you were at your bottom that stayed with you?
Well, you know, I guess I'm lucky. There, even in the hockey world, there's been a lot of people, but you know, you mentioned like Paul Kariya called me right away, Grant Stanbrook. God, I'm trying to think. You know, what was really impressive was, like, I remember when I went away to rehab and you don't get your phone every day. So I checked my voicemail and I had a voicemail from Gary Bettman. Like, for him to take the time, and obviously we don't know each other on a personal level, but just to care about you and be able to call, that tells you a lot about what he's like as a person. For me anyways, you know. But there was, you know, Scott Mellenby was someone, him and I have been close for years, and, you know, he reached out, obviously. But it's like what you say, like coming back to the alumni room, how accepting everybody is, it makes it so much easier. You know, like Cam's joking around right away, you know, and like Barrett Jackman, like he was great too. And, you know, being able to get on the AAA team, have my son you know, try out, even though it was late maybe in the tryouts sessions and stuff like that. It's not only because when you go through something like that, you have your insecurities going back out, like you guys mentioned.
That's what I was wondering, you know, like how hard that was, you know, to show your face.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? But, you know, you realize that the guilt and the shame, mine was very public, and but that's life. You can't change the past. All you can do is change what your actions are and what you're doing in the present. And it's like a lot of people everybody has their ups and downs. That's what life is. Life is about how you handle your ups and downs. Like when you're a player, it's when you're cut. When you're a father or a mother, it's you get laid off. Like people don't know about those struggles that you're doing with, like mine was. So I guess mine was a little bit beneficial because a lot of people knew that I was struggling and reached out.
Can you look at the Dallas situation and say it may be the best thing that happened to you? I mean, not the best, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I think you're right. Absolutely. It's the worst day and possibly the best day, but that's up to me to make sure it remains the best day.
Yeah.
How are you with that though? Is it getting easier? Is it a struggle still?
Yeah, you can't get cocky. You can't say it gets easier. Yeah. You know what I mean? But you develop a routine. You know, it's like if you're a diabetic, you have to make sure you're checking your insulin. And if you do that and you take it at the right time, you're fine.
You're under control.
You're under control.
Yeah. I remember you telling me that when you found out you got the job here in St. Louis, you told your family, your kids were crying. Everybody was like excited, whatever, because you were here already. Right. So the personal side of it, like your kids, now they're here, they're loving it. You're coaching with the Blues. They've got their friends. They're playing hockey. So now you tell them that you're going to Boston. Were they accepting of that right away, or did that take some convincing when you started the interview process? And the reality is, hey, we love St. Louis, but I'm a head coach in the NHL, and I gotta do what's best for the family too, right?
Yeah. Well, we had to make sure that they were okay with it, and it wasn't as easy as the St. Louis situation. Just isn't, because my wife's from here. We got family here. The kids now love their teams. They love their friends on their teams. They love their school. They're all thriving academically. So it is hard. Like I think two of our children don't want to go to Boston. You know, if they had their preference. And the other two are, let's go. You know, my second son's a big history buff, and he's like, oh, you know how many different things I can learn about?
A ton of stuff.
Yes. But my oldest son, like, you know, we actually gave him the opportunity. You want to stay at grandma's house? And, you keep going SGM and stay with the AAA Blues. And he actually leaned that way at first. And then he's 13 now, so we did a pros and cons list. It just comes down to he's used to being in a house with 4 kids. Yeah. I'm like, what's that going to look at every night you're at grandma's house? Grandma's wonderful.
Yeah.
She would spoil him to death.
Yeah.
You'd have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, chopped up for him if he wants it, But it's not, you don't have your brothers and sisters yelling and screaming.
Yeah, or you.
That's a big part of it. But, you don't realize that.
He's going to be able to go to the rink with you and, be able to shoot the shit with Bergeron.
I know.
It's going to be an unbelievable experience for him. Where's he going to play hockey next year? You got all that figured out?
Yeah, Eagles. And he's going to...
Is the rink close to the house? You got a house and all that stuff?
We got a house in Winchester. Okay. It's about 8 or 9 miles from downtown Boston. Where they practice. There's a couple of rinks like in Boston that they got to go to, and because of traffic there, depending on practice, is going to take anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes. But with the Eagles team, it's the Junior Eagles, so I guess it's from the Boston College program, and it's a couple of David Heimovitz. You know that name? No?
Sounds familiar.
And then Freddie Meyer is the coach.
I've never heard that.
No
in my
idea.
Life. I lied to you there.
Freddie Meyer is a coach.
Freddie Meyer played against him.
Yeah. So he's the head coach of JP's age team. They have their team's picked in the spring, so there's no room on the AAA team. So he's going to play on the AA team for this year. And he's going to play a year up so that he's being challenged a little more.
Yeah, because it's tough, man, with the AAA and all that. Like people that their rosters are set by May or whatever,
Yeah, I don't understand how USA Hockey thinks that's beneficial.
Yeah,
because kids in April compared to kid in August,
they got the whole summer to get better.
That's when kids grow the most,
exactly.
And then who's has actually invested time into getting better.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
So it's just it's unfortunate they do it that way because, but that's the way to do it. So that's the way. Hey, life, you got to accept the good and the bad.
Yeah.
So he's got to make.
When you got to go up there, when you got to report, what's your schedule like?
Yeah, we're gonna be here for another month. Middle of August, we're gonna move. Yeah.
Take your time, do your thing.
Well, we don't have any. Plus, the close on the house doesn't happen till then, anyways.
Yeah. Cool.
You got to take care of that Frederick kid,
Oh, he's a great kid.
Boy.
He's a great kid.
Boy.
No, and you know
what?
You know
the dad.
Those St. Louis
we
boys
need
are
him.
tough.
You know what? I need Frederick to take care of me. If he has a good year, better for me.
Yeah,
better for the Bruins.
That's exactly right.
Most importantly.
Let him go do his thing.
Right.
I know.
Hey, man, all the best. And you got to be proud of yourself too, right? I mean, just in terms of getting back on your feet and in position to be a head coach in the NHL. It's not easy to get one of these jobs, and you did that in pretty quick fashion.
Right.
So,
well, I appreciate
congrats
that.
on that.
But as Cam knows, you never think about yourself when you're wired to be a team guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate your words.
Yeah. And he's not a team guy, by the way, just so you know.
I mean, what are you talking about?
Fence builder, right?
I mean, he's never he's not a team guy.
A team guy.
That's just what it is.
Oh my God.
Well, when I met Andy, he was delivering pizza, so he had no teammates in the car.
Oh, we made it fun though. We made it fun back in the day, man.
We love Andy.
That was awesome back in the Vito's.
Back at Vito's, baby.
Yeah,
That's right. Hey, all the best.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Seeing you this season for sure, man.
Right on.
The Cam Strick Podcast is brought to you by Bellman and Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Get out there to Detroit, Missouri. Check it out. On one side, you got the Buick, the GMC. Options for everybody. Then right across the street, you got the Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Again, find something that works for you and get yourself a new set of wheels in time for the summer.
Yeah.
All right, that was Jim Montgomery. Listen, I give Monty a lot of credit, man, for coming in here and doing the interview, and the fact that, how he's, shown the ability to kind of take control of things and get himself back on his feet and do what he does best, which is, he was coaching hockey last year as an assistant coach, but, he's a head coach.
Yeah.
And some people are assistant coaches, some people are head coaches,
Yeah, well, he's both. He could put him anywhere. The guy's just a smart hockey guy, and he's,
any head coach, most of them can be an assistant, but not every assistant can be a head coach as well.
Well, no, hell no. Yeah. But he's done it all, and he's proven himself, and he got into a jam, and now he got a second chance. He proved himself with a second chance, and now he's got a big opportunity in Boston. And I'm fucking rooting for him, man. Big time.
You think it's harder or easier to walk into a dressing room with established in some cases, iconic players.
As a young coach like Monty, who hasn't been in a game too long, I think it might be a little bit more difficult to deal with older guys.
He's not that young in age, you know.
No,
what I'm saying?
I know, but as far as a coach and established, like he's still not compared to a lot of other players.
Yeah.
Like but I think I think it might be tough. I think it's easier to walk into a locker room full of kids than walk into a locker room full of fucking straight up superstars. Where at the beginning everybody likes you, but if you have one fucking weird time where you bench a guy, you're going to be in a jam and you're dealing with some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
That could sway opinions.
Oh, and some real personalities, and Brad Marchand and whatever. But
it's cute and funny now.
Yeah.
But once Brad starts licking dudes and you fucking sit his ass, now he's pissed at you. Now how do you handle that?
Yeah.
Instead of Clayton Keller getting mad at you down in Arizona when you have a bunch of young kids.
Right.
Who's the oldest team in the league?
I just saw this the other day. It's not Toronto, is it? Because Toronto's they're up there.
Are they really?
Yeah, and St. Louis is up there.
I could see that.
Austin might be.
Austin might be up there. It's Pittsburgh.
Okay. And that makes sense.
Pittsburgh's your oldest team in the league.
That makes sense.
Who's the youngest?
I mean, Dallas has got to be old too.
They got to be old as fuck too.
I mean, Dallas. You look at all the. I mean, they add old guys like Ryan Suter last summer, and they give him 4-year deals.
Where's Tampa at, Matt?
Tampa's got to be up there.
They got to be up there. Colorado ain't up there.
I bet you.
Are they?
I don't know. Everybody's kind of close to each other, because like you may have like the oldest team in the league maybe their average age, I'm just throwing this out there.
28.
28 and 7 months. And then the 15th oldest team in the league, 27. Maybe their average is like 27 and 3 months. You know what I'm saying?
All right. If that's where the gap is,
yeah, I'm just saying the gap is not overly dramatic.
Yeah, okay.
What stood out to you in our conversation with him?
With Monty? Mm-hmm. Man, look, he knows where he's at with himself. Like, he's confident in where he's at. He's not walking like, I'm going to do it. No, he's just like, I know what I need to do. I know where I learned. I crawled out of he's had a lot of experience. He's played all over the fucking place. He's played with superstars. He played college. He played over in Russia. He coached here. He coached there. He's done this. He's done that. Like, he's done a lot of things. And when you talk to him, he has this confidence about him, but it's not like it's not a cockiness.
No.
And a lot of these coaches are, he's not like that. So I just feel like, if I'm a player and he's my coach, I'm going to work for him.
He interviewed with Vegas, too, this past offseason.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And
but Boston's a good spot for him, though, I think.
Original 6, living in Boston.
Yeah, living in the original 6.
Pretty fucking cool. Easy travel. Fucking A.
Hey, you know what I took away also is how many respected people
reached out.
Guys like Tkachuk, Scott Mellenby, just like have his back and like have gone to bat for him.
Yeah. Hey, that shows you a lot of things. It proves. I want him getting a job. Like coming here in St. Louis. He walked one day in an alumni room. We're all like, what's up, Monty? Let's go play. He gets about 4 assists. I get about 4 goals in that game, and all of a sudden he gets hired. Funny how that works.
Yeah.
So, and even Gary Bettman calling him and saying, hey, Yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting.
Would you have rather be the head coach in Winnipeg or Boston? Like, where, if you had the option now?
Winnipeg or Boston?
Well, those were kind of his options.
What about Winnipeg or Arizona?
Arizona.
For a head coach, I'd go Arizona because I don't give a shit. A head coach is 5,000 people there. But as a player, no way. I'm going to Winnipeg and I'm playing in front of fucking 15,000 screamers. Okay. I ain't going down there with 5,000 like little kids. Like, hey,
like quality of life in terms of like weather and all that is not as important to you.
I'm looking at it strictly on the hockey part.
I know,
of things.
But that's not where the decision. It's like when you come in Arizona versus
because
Edmonton,
the hockey part supersedes.
Yeah.
Fucking Arizona and that joke. It's a joke down there right now. Once they crawl that and they get a new building, that's a different story. They might still have 5,000 people there. I'm playing in Winnipeg to be a hockey player.
You know how the Arizona State logo is on the ice and all that? At center ice?
Yeah.
When you're watching it on television, you won't see it.
Okay, cool. No one's watching on television.
No,
I hate to chirp because I love Billy.
Can I throw this out there? Talking to players, they are super excited to go play in that environment. No, the road players. Cam, to go on the road for one game,
joke.
And you're gonna play in front of 5,000.
They're gonna laugh.
It's gonna be such a different environment and different atmosphere of anything else they're used to. That I think they will. I think fans are gonna be interested to tune in and watch these games too.
Okay, Andy, come on.
You're not going to want to see
It's
what
a
it looks
joke.
like. You're not going to want to see what it looks like.
I'm going to watch it as a novelty. Like,
yeah,
as
that's
like,
what I mean.
Yeah, but that's not the right reason.
No, but that's the reality of it.
I get you.
And that's where fans are like, dude, I can't wait.
I can't wait to chirp.
In Tempe, all these college kids and stuff that are going to be there. It's going to be loud and crazy.
You're back in college. It's a joke.
I get that.
Get out of here.
I'm not comparing it to like a packed house.
I know, Andy.
In Chicago.
I get you, man. Well, they're not going to have a packed house anymore either.
They won't.
God.
When Chicago's going right, that may be the best place in the league to play.
Ever. Yeah, I know. Remember when they were rocking it? I was like, they were on a high cloud. That's like something bad's got to happen.
Can I throw this out too? Somebody told me that watch out for the Dallas Stars. I mean, they've got to do some work here. They've got to sign Robertson, who I like an awful lot. They got to sign their goaltender, Ottinger. But they are looking. I mean, they look at who they have on the roster and where their window is. Like, if they're ever going to win, then they got to do it like now. If they're ever going to do it, because Ben Sagan, all these guys, they're not getting any younger.
Sagan just got married.
They're looking to make a splash, and I had somebody throw out the name Patrick Kane to me about the Dallas Stars.
That'd be kind of cool.
And because Kane's got 1 year left, and it's like, hey, if we're gonna, he could help us. Like, obviously, it's not like you're committing long term to him or whatever. Chicago would probably have to eat some money.
Yeah, $11 million.
But I had a birdie tell me, watch out for the Dallas Stars.
Was it the same birdie that said Tkachuk was going to the Blues?
No one ever told me that.
Okay.
No one ever told me.
Who's going to tell you that?
No one ever told me that Tkachuk was going to the Blues. And any real interview that I did or conversation that I never said that. Yeah. On your show, I did it in a joking manner.
I stick up for you more than you think. Yeah. I might chirp you here and there.
Remember, I even said after I said that when I was joking, I said, "Hey, are people going to really hold me to that?" Like think
I didn't even chirp you that bad this morning. No. I didn't. We played it a couple of times, but I stuck up for you like I always do. Yeah. I don't want you to,
like I did several other interviews on the same station too. Like, listen to those.
I did. I listened to you and Bernie. Andy.
Yeah.
I'm on the ball.
I didn't say that.
You think I chirp you? I stick up for you more than anybody does. Just remember that. I chirp you more, but I stick up for you more than anybody. I only chirp you when you piss me off.
So just watch out for that.
I will. I'll watch out for it, Andy. I'm going to watch out for that.
I'd take that Patty Kane.
I'll take that motherfucker right now. I'm going to hang out with him. I do. Like, what's up? I never really got to talk to him, man.
He's one of the coolest. People don't like him and whatever.
I don't give a shit what people think.
Dude.
I don't give a shit. Everybody I've talked to loves that dude.
I think he'd go there, too.
Every teammate I've talked to, even Brandon Bullock, who, Patty didn't, they loved him. They love him.
How about Eddie Olchuk, by the way?
Why wouldn't he leave?
They're paying him a lot of money in Seattle.
I go to Seattle. I'd have
understand.
a badass place looking over the fucking ocean, dude. I'd go down and eat good seafood. Fuck yeah. I like Seattle.
And he's not even moving there, from what I understand. I think he's just gonna
rent a fucking
he's
penthouse.
Gonna have his schedule, and he's gonna go in there when it's long homestands, and still make the money that he's making with TNT.
Yeah, dude.
Which is well into the 7 figures, from what I understand.
Good for him. He's good.
And he's making 7 figures from Seattle too, from what I hear. So Eddie O made the right decision. Chicago made another bad decision,
Well, I think people are trying to get out of Chicago. They're in a weird spot.
Well, I think Eddie O was looking to maybe get involved with the organization too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They were hiring presidents, general managers, all that. Like, they had him sitting in your lap. No, we don't want you, but whenever we have a big event, we need you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We don't want you to be the face of our organization, but whenever we have anything going on in town, we need you to come be the face of the organization. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, very bizarre. Yeah, they're just using you when they need to use you. I know.
Yeah.
I get you, man.
It's like, we have a huge charity black tie event. Yeah. We need you to MC it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you're just using me? Oh, okay,
well, why don't you use the president? He just Well, no, no one knows who he is.
Exactly. Nah, they're in a weird spot.
So, anyway, congratulations to Eddie O, and best of luck to you out there in Seattle, man. So, anyway, don't tell me Seattle hasn't signed anybody this offseason. They got Eddie O. All right, as always, the Cam Strick Podcast brought to you by Hair Club. Check them out, hairclub.com/Cam Strick. That's our landing page. And go there, regrow your hair, and listen, feel good about yourself.
Be confident again. Feel good. Be confident again.
And just know that, sometimes you can't control. You may have decent hair, but if someone pours beer all over your head, it's going to look like you just got out of the pool, man. That was it.
Andy's talking about a picture that was sent our way by somebody, and he had a hairline like mine. I'm like, oh, dang,
dude, it was all. I had beer all over my shirt. It was just awful. Don't ever post that.
I would never do that. I don't do that shit.
There's another picture of you, dude, that I was from this magazine fold that I was just laughing.
It looks like my arms.
No, you were like your arms and your legs. You look like you're standing in one of those mirrors, you know, at like the Magic House.
It's so embarrassing.
Oh my God.
I'm George Costanza.
Yeah, you can't post.
It's crazy.
You did have your burnt orange shirt on for the magazine cover. That's what you wore to the cover shoot.
Oh God.
So
hair news.
Yeah, hairclub.com. Go there and listen, man. Do it today. carshield.com, 800-857-2481. Get that protection. You never know when something's going to go down in your car. That computer, man, that little chip, Cam. You know how much that costs for that little chip?
Oh, fuck. It comes over from overseas mostly.
Where does it come from?
I don't. Depends on where you. I don't know.
No, does it come from China?
Well, China. I don't know. Hopefully, fucking not. But a lot of those chips, man.
A lot of things come from. Your shoes you're wearing right now came from China.
Probably Taiwan, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which kind of is China now.
Explain that.
Well, they're trying to take it over. Taking it over. No one's talking about China. It's all Russia. China's a bunch of bad boys over there. They ain't fucking around.
In China? Mm-hmm. You know, you can only have like 2 kids per family.
I know.
Because there's so many people there, and they're trying to like limit the population.
I know.
Well, I want to make sure you knew that. Bellman and Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Go to Troy and go there today. If your credit sucks, don't worry, man. They're going to treat you like anybody. Like, here's the deal. Here's how I explain Bellman to people. If your credit is terrible, you're going to get the same treatment as the person who has perfect credit.
Yeah, I like that.
And there's something to be said for that.
I get it, man. They're the real deal. No swinging dicks.
That's right. And they've got the Buick, the GMC. Cam's looking at the Buick Enclave. Nothing wrong with that at all.
I'll take that damn thing.
Yeah, frosted white. It's a beautiful car. And they got the GMC, and then on the others, well, my phone's ringing, man. People are just calling left and right. But
credit card company?
No, it's not.
Spam
I told
risk.
you, I never had a bad credit situation going on. Like I never had a credit card till I was like almost like, you know, in my mid-20s.
You weren't making any money.
I forgot what the year. I was afraid to have debt. You know?
Well, you didn't have any credit either. That's why we didn't buy a house until you're 40.
No, I bought my first house when I was in my 20s. I bought 2 duplexes, dude, that I rented out and managed myself. Bought those, flipped those, bought another house. I mean, I started getting into real estate at a young age, too.
Who gave you the money to do that?
I had 2 buddies that helped contribute, but I also, like, you know, had a buddy who had a mortgage company.
So you didn't make the money yourself?
I made it all. Because then I actually refinanced and paid them out. Okay. Before I officially sold them.
Man, buying a house at a young age is the best thing.
It's the best. It was the best investment I ever made.
I know. Me too.
And so, you know, you don't have to put a ton of money down really to buy a place. But then I had so much equity in it that then I refurbished it and rehabbed it and did a bunch of stuff.
Sure, you did it by yourself too.
I know I had a buddy of mine do that, but I was the project manager. There's no question about that. All right, so Bellman.com. Go there today. And Zero Carb Life, again, 72 grams of protein in that 12-inch, which is just incredible stuff, man.
Sexual Tyrannosaurus.
Wow, I mean, hey.
So it's going to make you.
Get that buffalo style, get that beef crumble.
You eat that chicken, boy. It's going down.
It's amazing. So chicken does that for you.
Well, protein does.
Yeah, I know, but like just chicken.
Well, you have chicken. Yeah, there's a lot of protein in this pizza, and you're gonna be walking around with a fucking boner.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I want
Salmon will do that too.
I like when I'm horny.
Yeah,
I get shit accomplished.
All right. So anyway, Zero Carb Life. Check it out. Go to their website, man. They ship it to you in a very timely manner as well. Waggle Golf. Get your waggleon.com. If you're going to the golf course, man, you better go there in style. Check out these shirts, the hats, the quarter zips.
So comfortable.
Oh, my God.
I love the hats. The hat matches my fucking shirt. Now I look like I got swag out there, man. I feel good. My game sucks, but people are like, wow, he must be a good golfer. No, I'm not.
Because you look like it.
I look like it.
I get the same treatment.
I get a big head. I got a big body. The clothes fit great. I match. I look fucking good. And hang.
You like having the matching hat with the shirt?
Yeah, dude. Damn right.
What is that on the hat right there? What is it?
I don't know, but I like it.
It's like a wolf.
Fucking badass. All their shit's good. Everything about it's cool. They got a good swag, man. You look good in it, dude.
Yeah, I agree with that. So get that and get it today, man. Make sure you go to the course. Next time you're there, man, you got to make sure you're looking good for sure. Travis is our guy from Minnesota.
Hey, dude.
He's a hockey fan. And they're all hockey people, too, which, of course, we love about our friends over there with Waggle Golf. Check it out online. GetYourWaggleOn.com. That's the website. And, of course, Mars Blade. Get some new rollerblades. Austin Matthews is running the show over there. Of course, an investor. They've got Shane Wright as well, who got snubbed at the draft. But you know what? He's toe dragging Cougars left and right.
Toe dragging like I am, baby. I'm toe
doing
dragging
his
left
thing,
and right.
doing his thing with the Mars Blades. So again, check out marsblade.com. All right, this has been the Cam Strick Podcast, episode number 196 with Jim Montgomery. Follow us on all our social media channels. Crush that like button and do everything. Do it today.
Support the sponsors.
Support the sponsors.
Keep this thing going, guys. Love all y'all.
Peace.